did your shit. I did it better than you did.
You know what this conversation is like? When I say not enough supers die in Delve, and people tell me, oh, look, there's a super died in Delve. So it's like, when
What
I'm
are
talking
you
about
even
the balance
talking
issue,
about? We were talking about fucking balance, not supers
Yeah.
dying in Delph.
Look,
Why does
look.
everything with you have to be about supers fucking dying in
Shut
Delph?
up! Shut up!
Christ!
It's an analogy, moron. It's an analogy. Okay?
You guys stop arguing. You act like a fucking married couple. Jesus Christ.
No, don't stop arguing.
Well, it is Trash Talk Tuesday.
I was like,
1, 2, 3, Rain, talk to me. We're gonna.
Oh shit, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Trash Talk Tuesday. I'm gonna switch this tab real quick. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's Tuesday. Trash Talk Tuesday is here. We're gonna talk some trash tonight. My name is Redline13. I'm joined by a cantankerous crew of folks. We've got Dominarch here. Hello, Dominarch. How's your week been so far?
So far, it's been really busy. Thanks for having me tonight, Redline.
Yeah, welcome.
I like it here.
Perfect. You should stick around. And also, we've got Firefox. Hello, Firefox. How's it going?
come.
Can't believe it. Every time I don't say
Yes.
it, you say...
Good man. Good man.
And also, we're joined by Skyhawk. Hello, Skyhawk. How are you?
Greetings. Decided I didn't get enough of you on Fridays, so I decided to come and hang out on Tuesdays.
Adorable. And last and certainly not least, we've got Villy here. Hello, Villy. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening it is. Let me tell you what, the last week has been a roller coaster of emotion for me. Just watching the posting in EVE Online. Dominarch, have you been keyed into this at all?
The posting? No, I don't pay attention to
The
that.
posting, the things that are happening?
You're talking about like Mifune and shit like that, or are you talking about the
No.
war stuff?
The war stuff.
I do as I'm told.
Do you know what's happening right now?
Well, we pulled our big stuff back. I
Mhm.
thought we were going to pull everything back, right? I'm all panicky, trying to get all my shit out there, join the move up, and like, no, leave your dreads here. I'm like, well, fuck's sakes. All right.
Did you wonder why all of your friends were moving their dreads while yours were staying there? Just curious.
Because they're probably going to do something else. I don't know.
Because they only brought the they only have the
They
one
probably
cap
only
as a
brought the one
suitcase.
cap. Exactly, fuckers. I guarantee that's what it was.
Well, you don't need
How
a
else
whole
are they
lot of
gonna get
caps
their
if you don't
doctrine,
use them.
so-
No, but you were supposed to take a dread and a carrier, or some kind of combo, right? One for a
They
suitcase,
dread
one.
in a suitcase.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Dread in a suitcase, right? And they're like, I thought they were saying bring everything back. I'd already taken my suitcase back. And they're like, well, I better join this, get my dread out of here. And like, oh no, they're staying. So that means we're still gonna have some fun up here. I mean, I hope. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was just a fight there.
No, I missed it.
There was a fight in Venal an hour ago.
That's been like the third fight in Venal. Then there's been some other stuff going on up there the last few days, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is the rare, like, late, early USTZ vibe kind of fight. I think Sanrir
Hi,
was
Rain.
there, and hey, Sanrir.
I doubt
What-
Rain was there.
I doubt, but that's okay. Sanrir, were you a participant in this fight? Can I find your monitor in this list of people?
You probably could, yeah.
I did. It's right here. What happened? What was this over? What's the story, Morning Glory?
Boss.
Yeah, there's
armor.
there's just a fort and armor, and
As you can
Frat
see,
and Board decided to make a play, and we responded.
As you can see, if you scroll up, Redline boss formed massively to the defender fort.
15 whole people? Boss Alliance showing out for everybody. Good job, boss. I thought they were.
Was the fort saved though?
Wait, say that again?
Was the fort saved?
Yeah.
What is it? On the BR 117 advantage plus fort?
No, was the Fort Azar saved?
Yeah. It was only an armor timer, anyways.
Yeah, that's because they have good allies.
Oh, Cash is back?
Sonya took out a fleet the other day. I believe I was on it. Didn't we bounce around and save a couple structures from some bad guys? It was kind of fun.
Yeah. That was shortly after our move up.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I think it might have been our
right
very
before
first,
before the move up
jump
and right
clone.
after the move up, right?
Yeah, it was. I think it might have been our very first jump clone back. It was to be expected. You call a jump clone deployment, and hostiles are going to test your resolve. So you got to go up there and show them you're not messing around.
And
I
I
would
was
say
pretty, I was pretty happy
the
with those. We
first-
did a good
no,
job, I think, of responding to that.
the
Don't you
first
think?
the first JC like that Goons took was to go defend Ansiblexes that were never being contested. It was very funny watching Goons JC the DO6 for Ansies that didn't matter. I don't know which one you're talking about. It might have been the same.
I don't. It wasn't ANSYS. I think we were when we JC'd. It was for structures. It wasn't. I mean, I know ANSYS are structures, but
ANSYS are
I
structures.
thought they were. It was a Fortizar.
I
or
mean,
something
you know,
else.
knowing us, I'm pretty sure we JC'd for no reason whatsoever. You're probably right there, Firefox.
That makes sense. And a lot of us did it too, which was nice. I was glad to see the numbers were good.
Well, if you didn't JC for nothing, what'd you JC for? What'd you do while you were there?
It's an interesting question, isn't it?
Damn it,
I
Sonmir.
flew my ship out and out. It was kind
Yeah,
of fun.
one of them that was Init came with like 220 people and bashed the jump bridge in X47. That was like their end of their JC for that timer was they bashed the jump bridge with 200 people, then went home.
So they did something. It sounds like fun.
The JB then just prepared because no one came to shoot it again.
Well, how many people do you normally bash on Nancy with?
I tried to do at least 150.
40.
Would you
Not
bash it
good.
with 200 if you had it?
No, because you're damage capped.
Would you send
Oh,
160 of them
bullshit.
home?
If you're not triple
Fuck,
exceeding the
fuck
damage
you
cap, you're not
guys.
doing it
You
right.
guys don't get any contact. You log off. You 40 stay here. That's not a thing. All
See,
200 would go out there and do
You
it.
could have
'cause you're
bashed
there.
like 5 Ansies at once. I'm
Maybe we
just
didn't want
saying.
to. We didn't know.
well, maybe they were looking for a fight. They came up there like, we'll shoot the Ansiblex. Maybe these idiots will form a
They
fleet
shot
and
it in
fight
like
us.
UTZ.
Isn't that the primary time zone for most of the groups? Well, not frat, obviously, but I
People
mean,
that own it know.
but BFL is there. BFL's EUTZ adjacent.
I do know. I've noticed one thing about this little dust up, which is kind of nice. EU and USTZ weren't the only ones having content. That actually, looking at the war from that perspective, it was a success in the fact that other groups got that, like the AUTZ, got to have a lot of fun. They don't always get to have a lot of fun. I think
Right.
that's a positive thing
Yeah.
to look at this.
AUTZ
Absolutely,
used to
yeah.
have a shit ton of fun, and then Citadels happened, and then AUTZ went to shit because before it was everyone timed everything AU because it was everyone's weakest time zone. So it was
I know.
Battle of Alarm Clocks, and Citadels happened, and everyone went to their own TZs, and it's just like, oh,
I don't know. To me, anytime there's something you could look at, not the overall war. There's something good for the game, and I think that is good for the game. And other times they'll get to have some fun. I've had fun. I don't know.
That's one aspect of the POS kind of thing I do miss is kind of getting someone out there to pull the right amount of straunt at the right time so you get the timer you want rather than just sort of relying on automatic game mechanics.
watching the original 2 bosses like right at the start of the deployment, then it dropped in X7 before they dropped their fort. Watching Shines trying to time those was very funny. The first one came out in Deep US, the second one came out in early CNTZ.
People a little rusty at it, were they?
Yeah.
Which is funny, right?
I think it's a good mechanic because it adds like a level of skill and responsibility to it rather than just letting the
I
timer
like it
handle
as
it.
well because like if you don't show up to like retime it, like there's a chance it just rolls badly for you. And
Honestly,
if you
the
just-
pause system was probably the best reinforcement design that Eve has had because it allowed you to set a timer that was, one day 10, one day 17, one day 8 or whatever. But the incentive became for the enemy to attempt to ninja reinforce during your own time zone so they could then all of a sudden have it in a time zone that was not, your prime. There was all kinds of incentives and ways to work
there was
around
a
pause
lot of
mechanics.
different strategies for it.
And it was so much better than what we currently have, where it's like you reinforce something, here's your 6-hour window, have fun. Like,
And requiring to be an active part of the defense
Or-
rather than just have it repair automatically in 15 minutes is an important
Yeah.
aspect as well.
exactly.
Repping passes with triage.
Man, honestly, like I still fly a Chimera specifically because of that, because it was like the carrier to have way back in the day.
I think you just like Chimera because you're a noob.
That's also probably an important consideration.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, like, you would create situations where if somebody wanted their shit to repair it, they had to go repair it, right? Instead of just like waiting 15 minutes and it magically repairs all of the work you did. So
Yeah.
even if it forced 4 or 5 Minakawas or whatever else to do the job, your enemy was putting some assets out there to do something to counter the damage you did, right? So that kind of to me that's way stronger than okay, it keeps starts repairing and it's done, right? Like
Yeah, there was a lot of little aspects of that of Back into the Past Warfare that added an element to the game, or to at least to the combat of it, when it came to either straunting it perfectly, or if you're the attacker, putting every little module into armor or into hull a little bit. Right? Makes a big difference.
or
Little
killing
things
the
like that.
modules altogether, right?
Or kill them all together.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
I
there was
mean,
little things
it's
like
the
that made a big difference.
yeah,
Back then, man.
it's the minutia of it that really adds to the options. It's like sand in the sandbox, right?
I know Billy and I talked about this before. And I don't think we agreed, but I like the fact you could kill services back on the old
Oh,
stations.
that was like such
I
a good
missed
way to
that.
get a fight. You just start Entosis in someone's clone bay, and it's like they have to do something.
No, you should
So you
shoot 'em
think
back
there's
in the
like a
day, yeah.
mix of
No,
citadels
it
and
was
POS
Entosis.
mechanics that they could do?
They swapped it over to Entosis.
They
at some
did,
point.
but back in the day, you'd shoot it.
Well,
I've been playing a long
yeah.
time.
Well, but I mean, both ways.
I
Same end
don't,
result.
Billy.
You'd start doing
You
it
didn't
to
really
their-
think that was a great
I think
aspect,
that's I think that is two time zone controlling, like because there's very little you can do defensively. Just like if the attacker comes in and you're a one time zone alliance, they reinforce all your services. Then the few people you have that may play in that time zone all of a sudden can't play the game, right? They can't
Guys,
use the clone bays. They can't do anything, right? It just
POSes
becomes
are bad.
Well, these were
that's not
stations.
POS. That's station. That's
I fully understand what you're saying too. You bring up very good points. I just missed that. It was just one aspect. Or there's one more aspect to the
in
combat. Right?
in the time that mechanic was usable, it's fine because the game was very Eurocentric or with some slight US bend, but it was also a time when there wasn't super and Titan, sieging of stations
Proliferation,
going
yeah,
Yeah,
on.
because there
If
were
somebody went and
keep
shot your
stars.
station, generally, they were doing it with subcaps, which is a very different
Bring
task,
back
let's say.
the
I was
Timmy
just
meta.
thinking if you brought back the ability to shoot services with also the ability to defend your station, because you didn't have that back then, right? There was no station guns for the player-owned stations. If you had both those aspects, maybe it might balance out. Maybe not. I don't know.
Would you let the clone service be destroyable or reinforceable?
Was it destroyed or was it just put offline? I
It
can't remember.
It was put
RF'd.
offline.
But no
yeah.
clones were destroyed, right, Billy? It was just put
Correct.
offline. Yeah, okay. I would be
It's
okay
like
with
So
that
could
part of it.
you
Not
could you
It's
jump?
like a Citadel going low power right now.
Could you still jump to the clone bay if it
No,
was offline?
So
Clone jumping didn't really work back then. In the way you're making out.
mechanically, it was the same as a low power, like a structure in hull.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think your med clones still worked in those stations, but maybe
You could still have
couldn't.
your home def clones set there,
Yeah, I
but you
mean,
couldn't
so
jump clone in and out of your
It
clone.
sounds like that would kill jump clone deployments completely.
No, because you can actually rep them with like a
Yeah,
triage
with
carrier.
just-
You got to rep those services back.
In your
online.
TZ undock, like a Chimera and triage.
I think you're right, Bill. I think in today's Eve it might not work as well. Right? I agree. You're
Well,
probably
what
right
you would
there.
probably see is somebody who has time zone control go through every enemy station in a region, incap all of the cloning services, and then like just throw a Sino, to camp the undock, and then it's like, all right, for the next 8 hours, if you're in this alliance, you don't get to play the game anymore.
Yeah.
It's just,
I think that's
like
more of an issue of just upwells. Than
I don't think
anything.
you're wrong, Bill. I think exactly what happened. But I mean, you could make it just for keep stars only. That's the only place you could do this service. I don't know. Who knows? I just missed that. I used to have fun doing that because, and honestly, the reason I had fun because I knew it pissed people off. Just for that, that was the reason I liked it. So I mean, you're right. It would be a nightmare, Brown.
Speaking of other things that should come back, Dom, like if they ever went back to like a passive move mine and like actually the deployables to steal goo from people's posses that were mining moo, or like the old ESS that would just
you're
straight
talking
up
about the
steal.
siphons.
Yeah, the
I like the siphons. Those are fun.
Or the old ESSs that just
Siphons
straight
are
up
still in the
stole
game, are
people's
they not?
ticks.
No, I don't think they work anymore. Do they?
They don't work, but they exist
Yeah.
still.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. So
Well, no, they just don't work because they're not.
they were
moves
designed
aren't
for
passive
POS
anymore.
mechanics, right? They
Yeah,
stole
yeah.
the stuff off
The
POS.
The problem with siphons was always that it was like super easy to tell when your stuff was getting siphoned because fucking your ESI would just be like, oh, you're pulling X amount instead of the correct amount now. It's like, oh.
But it was still an inconvenience, right? Then that's the way I always I did a lot of
100%.
siphoning. It was more of an inconvenience. It was force people to have to come out and do something, which you keep doing that over and over and over. Sometimes people just stop doing it, right? It was I don't know. I enjoyed
But
it.
Well,
big
the
thing
bigger
with that,
problem
though,
was that usually we just man the guns for 5 seconds and kill the siphon, right?
Yeah, and that's all it would usually take. But it would take somebody to go out there and do that. You remember back then, a lot of people. I mean, myself, I had 32 towers. I had 16 pairs that I could watch
Yeah,
them all
I
the
know
time.
the feeling.
So it wasn't just an inconvenience way you could harass your enemy, right? I don't know if they should come back. I had fun with them. It was
So I
fun.
will say though, fighting over wounds when they were passes was a lot better, in my opinion, than Athenors.
Of course.
There were also a lot of people, some of you may be surprised, some not, that everyone actually watched their moons that carefully.
Oh,
I
yeah,
had
of
some
course they were.
siphons sit for like a while, just completely unnoticed, and I don't understand how, but
Yeah,
it
because
happened.
people are like, whatever.
Some
Well,
people didn't watch them at all.
It just made me money, and they would
Here's the funny
only
thing.
check it once every 2 weeks.
Let's say you're a random line member of Alliance number 2, right? And you jump into a system. Well, it used to be you would jump into that system. You might not know where any of the fucking bosses are. But now you jump into that system, all of the fucking Citadel structures pop up as Warp 2s like immediately, right? I miss where people like wouldn't always have a safe spot to go in every single fucking system.
Where you have to scan,
Yeah.
scan down the passes.
Well,
and whatnot.
Well, you
if
didn't
you
have
wanted
to,
to
you
go
could just
sit at a
walk
friendly
right in them.
boss, you either had to know where they were or, like, instead of just having a safe spot, usually on fucking gate in every system in the fucking region.
And then like old jump bridges, like you just incap the mod, and they'd have to like triage the rep. So you could just incap like all the mods on the boss, and just
I
easier
do
to
think that back
triage.
then, though, it was harder to do that because people watch those closer, right? As opposed to antiplexes, no one cares, right? Because if you kill it, even better. I just could put another one down. Right?
I don't think did pos mods ping you when they got shot. I don't think the
Pos
mods
mods
themselves
do
did.
ping you when
Yes,
they
they
get
do.
shot.
Okay, I
Yeah,
wasn't
there's
sure.
an
Okay.
in-game notification.
As someone who was repping pos mods a week ago, they definitely ping you.
Well, those make it mechanically that was a lot better, I think, than it is currently. Redline is confused how we got here, but
Oh, that
we're
was
here.
that was a long
Yeah, I
time
just now
ago.
saw it.
I let this go a while back. If
Let
if
what
this
go?
is if this is what you guys want to talk about, we can talk about this. That's fine.
So,
It's
what were we
it's
talking about before
What
this?
were we
though?
talking?
an agenda?
I think I derailed it. I apologize.
we
Sorry.
we were talking about something else that came back, and that would be the Keepstar and everything in X47. We were talking about the war zone up there and how everyone said just 16 days ago that under the unstoppable leadership of Asher, the Keepstars were falling, and that everything would keep moving, and that they would end the practice of renting. And then 4 days ago, so a grand total of 12 days later, they all decide to call it quits and go home. What's up with that?
I don't
Can
think we.
I,
I
wait,
don't think we
wait,
called
wait,
it quits
real
and went
quick,
home. I don't think that's
real
true.
quick. Go back
Real
to that
quick.
previous image.
Which
They had to
one?
keep the
This
one
one?
that had the four, whatever one had the 4 keep stars on it.
Yeah, this one.
All right,
This
this
is the 4 Keepstars.
I would like to point out one of their gripes was AFK leaders. Fire Coalition is
Hmm.
AFK leadership.
I'd like to see the
I'm
PAP
just saying.
stats on Asher Elias. Anyone got those handy?
Asher's moderately active.
Asher's pretty active.
Also, I'm being told I'm reaching. How am I reaching? Like, the entire stated purpose was to
It was-
push back the Fraternity invasion, and you
Oh,
didn't.
They pushed it back, and then it immediately came back to where it was.
They killed
We're
some
back at square
citadels,
one.
but they never gained anything as far as like space was concerned. They never took anything.
They never got rid of the Sov that Frat took from B2.
Right, exactly. So like what exactly did the Goon win here? I need to know.
So the Imperium killed like what, 40 structures maybe, like 10 or 15 forts, 4 keep stars, and like 20 random structures. I think it's probably pretty close to a good guess.
In those random structures, there's some ANZ, the X47 ANZ like 5 times or something.
So maybe it's 50 if you add in some of the flex stuff. And that's about it. They won a bunch of fights. They lost a bunch of fights. They killed 50 structures.
All
Now
right.
they're going
some
home, and
took some pressures off our.
they killed a blue titan. Yeah, that's
We took some pressure off for our allies, and now we're
The,
gonna
the
do
keep
it.
star is back. though,
I'm
Doc.
still up there. You keep saying it's over, but we haven't come back completely. I mean, just yesterday
completely.
Yeah.
I was on a fleet. I mean,
I mean, don't get me wrong. You're right. The Imperium is holding a presence there with jump clones and what, like TFIs and Eagles and Hurricanes.
It's
and
yeah.
Goons left TFIs, Canes, and Dreads, and it left Eagles and TFIs.
I wouldn't say they left dreads. The majority of their dreads got pulled.
Yeah, well, they were supposed to leave Dreads.
Tell you what,
Well, it doesn't really
the most
matter
important
if you-
dread in the game is still up there. I can tell you right now.
If you pull the majority of your dreads back or half your dreads back, it doesn't matter. You're never using your dreads because if you don't have all your dreads aren't going. Like that's generally a reasonable rule of dread.
Oh, okay. Like I said, let me rephrase. They were supposed to leave their Dreads there.
So they could take the TFIs and Hurricanes home in them, or
Well, no, they were supposed to bring the dreads back.
No, they weren't supposed to go. They
No.
were never supposed to bring the Dreads back to Delve originally.
well,
No,
I
no,
think
no,
everybody
no.
has
we
seen
already
enough.
we already talked
Suitcase,
about this. It's the only
suitcase the
people have.
ships, and then bring the dreads back. That's what.
I
That's what the
don't
point
care
was.
what people are saying has happened or is like should happen. What has happened is a large number of dreads have gone home. Everyone has seen it.
Yeah.
You will not take a dread fight unless you have dread numbers that are effective enough to win a dread fight, which means you usually need all your dreads, which means the remaining dreads left in Fade / Declan are pretty much irrelevant. Would anyone disagree with this statement?
Nope.
I would not.
No.
Okay, so they've got TFIs and Hurricanes, and I think TFIs and Eagles or something like that for initiative, maybe, or
TFIs and Eagles were in it.
yeah. So TFIs and a battlecruiser / hack doctrine for other
So
stuff.
subcaps. Basically, what I think everyone who's up there is looking for is the subcap fights. Unless somebody wants the Titan fight, I don't know. I don't want
I mean,
another.
there
M2.
hasn't been that many of them, right? So I mean, the subcap fights is what people. If you want to fight, that's what you should take out because
Yeah,
that's where
for
you're
sure.
gonna get a fight in. If you don't want to fight, then yeah, you take out all your big toys because then no one fights. So as a Lion member, I want to fight. So I'm glad that we're leaving subcats up there, and maybe if we lose them all, big deal. I mean, I know that sounds shitty, but as long as we're out there using them, having fun with them, fuck it. I'll leave my shit up there.
Yeah, but the thing is that as much as you want to use your dreads, it's up to the people that are in charge of your dread usage, whether or not
No,
you
I'm
get
saying
to use it.
subcaps.
Oh,
I'm saying subcaps.
gotcha,
I like
gotcha.
subcap flights. You're more likely
the
to go
best
out on a
fights.
subcap fleet
I
and
would
have a
like
fight,
to,
right?
Address a Brendan comment in chat. My man, we watched hundreds of Dreads move back to Delve and they haven't come back yet.
Why? Some guy saying they didn't move the dreads back or
Well,
something?
no, I
or-
think
Brendan
he's
is-
saying he says panda crab, and I'm confused by that. Brendan, do you think
He's
that
trying to mix-
Fraternity
he's
and
trying to mix
PanFam
Panda Fam.
share crab fleets? I don't know. We can move on that later. But
If you're
I
trying to
think
talk
the
to some
Init
Twitch
AUTZ
chatter,
move up
The-
had 96 Dreads in the
Valimar, I
AUTZ
believe that
move
is
up.
correct. All landlords have been evicted from Eve, and there's no more renting. I think that's
It's all private
actually true.
systems now, right?
Yep,
Dom?
that's 100%
Right.
correct.
anyways, the majority of the Imperium's progress that they made against Fraternity was basically reset with the X-47 Keepstar drop.
boom,
Obviously,
and it
they
looked
don't
like
have
that.
all of the Fortizars that they had before. They don't have the Keepstars they had in NPC Purblind. But realistically, X-47 was the only one under their SOV, which is formerly Brave SOV, that was super relevant. And obviously, the replacement of that, which was the Imperium's crown jewel kill of this campaign, just looks bad.
But to be
And-
fair, X-47 is a super important system, right? I mean, everybody knows that. Everybody understands that.
It is.
This is bad for us. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think most people were expecting Imperium to have a little more fight in them and maybe push up to Yumi or try to take the Sov in that constellation. I think would have been a reasonable objective as well. Like, there's a ton of different things they could have done. Like, I just don't think anybody thought like, yeah, they'll kill X-47 and then they'll make some attempts on the Venal Keepstars and then they'll give up and go home. And it's like, wow, that was pretty fucking lackluster.
I guess I was kind of expecting to see the allies in the area, right? Them take the Sov, right? That surprised me that they didn't move. I don't know.
Well, I was
I
brutally
don't think
shocked
we
the
should have
morning
taken
of
it, right? They should
the
take it.
the morning of the X-47 keep start kill timer. You guys had like a free reign to like entosis that whole constellation. You didn't do it, right? Like Imperium did not entosis anything on the big day where they had all the numbers, and I was like, wow, because that was like the easiest fucking layup ever. And the Sov is almost always like, especially in these kind of wars, is more relevant to fuck Keepstar kills.
Well,
Because
Can
especially the
I,
eye
once
hubs.
the
Yeah, you're
once the
right. We're still
Sov
taking
is
the eye
taken
hubs.
and
Yeah.
once the Sov is taken and reset, it's hard to get it back into the time zone you want it in for Frat, right?
real quick, Tom, can Goons come back and kill specifically the fort that's behind the Keepstar because Greed fucking misaligned it?
I would say no.
Do you see it in the image?
I do see the picture. Yeah.
Do you see the
So
one I put in guest
the
lounge?
question
Like,
should go to
Greed.
Sonya. Can we take a fleet out and destroy that? I would like you to do that. Would you do that, please?
Please, Greed. Why do you do this?
We could probably do it if we just don't want to, right?
I
just
After the
wanna
wanted I
fact.
wanted
just
to hear
wanted to be lined
Sanrir's
up.
answer.
I'm not the person who makes decisions on those sorts of things. If we decide we're taking a fleet out and they need someone to lead it, I might be around and hopefully I can participate.
Sonya just rolls around, gets booshed, and wins fights.
See, I don't believe that at all. I think he's one of the ones that makes.
Except for the last part.
Nuh-uh. That's not true either. I've been in
Did
fights
you or
with you
did
and
you
you
not
won.
win a fight tonight?
I was a participant in the fight. I didn't win it.
Keish won the fight.
I boost your fucking monitor. You were in a monitor. That means you won the fight. Monitor rules.
I just have issues with Greed's alignment of that one fort.
My
Everything else is
God.
fine.
You guys should
Get
just tell
over
him to,
the
just tell him
alignment.
to unanchor it and move it.
Okay, did you see the Mav Star?
We don't listen. It's
Bad
fine.
alignment's triggering.
So, Sandra, I do have a question, and I know you're not the person who makes decisions, and I'm sorry that the people who do make the decisions are giant pussy baby cowards and won't
Stop
come
talking
on
about me
shows
like
like
that.
this. They won't come on shows like this, but then they'll talk shit about how there's never anybody from their crew on shows like this. Fuck you, by the way, guys. Not you, Sandra. You're a peach.
I'm here.
Anyways,
What the fuck?
Dominarch, you as well, but you're
I make
less
no
of a you're
decisions.
less
I
of a
know.
goon than most goons, honestly.
Whoa, wait,
And
are
it's
you
fine.
calling Dom a spy?
I'm calling Dom a half goon.
Half good.
Redline, you're gonna get yourself blacklisted.
He's
From
already
where?
blacklisted from Goons.
From where? Who else can blacklist me at this point?
I don't know. There's always
I'll
somebody.
blacklist you.
Shut
Don't worry,
up,
Redline.
Skyhawk.
Brendan, can you
Any-
blacklist
anyways,
Redline from Brave right now?
The question, Brendan,
Thanks.
don't blacklist me from Brave or my Plan C, brother. Anyway, Sandra, the question, the question from me is essentially, what's up with the lack of stamina here? Like, goons were bitching and bitching and bitching. Oh, Peppy just gave up. Peppy just gave up. After months of like pushing against the brick wall that was 1DQ, you guys took 12 days and said, see you later? I don't get it.
To
Yeah,
be fair, I don't think that's really fair to compare the two wars.
No, I don't think so
Doesn't-
either. I
Doesn't
agree with
have to be fair to be compared.
No, I think no, Billy makes a good point about this one. I think the stakes for that war were very much different than this one.
Yeah.
No one here is truly fighting for their existence.
This is. I see it in chat. I hate it. It's the Fraternity or TZ tanking goons. No, Fraternity are just in another TZ.
Yeah.
Goons are TZ tanking Frat by that same regard, or Braves TZ tanking Frat. Welcome to Eve.
Don't to TZ tank somebody. Don't you have to actually be in the same TZ first, right?
Yeah,
And
which is what happened like pre-Citadel when
Yeah.
everyone timed everything AUTZ because it was
Yeah,
everyone's weakest.
The term time zone tanking came from when you would have two European alliances or US time zone alliances fighting each other, and they would time all their shit to AU time zone, where it would be like 60 versus 40, because one side had 60 AU players, they only had 40, right? That's where the term time zone tanking came into play, especially because historically, whatever defensive measures are used to help tank, so citadels or iHubs or whatever, usually the more people playing, the easier those things are to get done. So if there's 200 people, then it might only be like a 20 or 30 person offset for that defensive advantage. But if it's like 60 versus 40, that all of a sudden becomes like 100 versus 40, right? Because when you add in the defensive advantage, that's where time zone tanking came from.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
whole
Yep.
CCP to fix it just got said in chat. Like, no, like,
Fix
you can't
what?
just tell an entire time zone they're not allowed to play the game. That's kind of fucked up.
No, in all fairness, if we really, really wanted to go after Frat, right, and for all the marbles, it's on us to fight in a way that we can get fights with them. It's not on them, right? It's not their responsibility to fight us in like EU or US. If we want to fight Frat, we've got to come up with a way to fight them in CNTZ, right? That's just a fact. Now, if they're attacking us, vice versa. Right?
They have to find a way to attack.
They have to find and attack us in ours, right? If they want to be able to be successful in these big attacks, it's not a problem with the game. It's not TZ tanking. It's just it is what it is, right? If you really, really wanted it, you'd find a way to do it. And I know that for a fact. I mean, the lackluster comment, it's kind of true, but this isn't really our war. We were just going to help some people, and I think we did. I think we did a good job of helping them for a bit. But if it was a war of our war, right? I do think we would find a way to make it happen. I think we could do that. I don't think we're gonna, because it's not a war. But I'm saying
I think my biggest gripe that came out of this war was the amount of anti-Chinese rhetoric that came from.
That's unfortunate, right? You don't need that.
It's just like
there's so little you can do about it, though. I remember fighting the original war against Fraternity in like
the
2017.
Dead one.
Yeah, and like it just like took so much effort trying to keep people like I want to say on message, but that's not what I'm trying to say. Like, trying to keep people as good human beings, or like I don't know, like
don't turn it into a propaganda nightmare.
Yeah, because like
it's just I don't know. I found it really weird when one of the third biggest alliance in like the Imperium, for example, is Chinese.
Yep, that was the same problem we had. Like,
it's like there's a lot of Chinese players in B3 with because of Fire existing. There's a lot of Chinese crossover there. There's Chinese corps and blob and shit, and it's just like, why are you shit talking all Chinese players?
Here's the reality, and it's the reality that everybody fucking knows. 1, Frat has some botters. Everybody knows this. 2, here's the thing everybody else knows. Everybody who has base in fucking nullsec has some fucking botters. Does Frat have more botters than other groups? Maybe. It's hard to like accurately say, but chances are, you could say they probably have a good chunk. But how much more? That's a really tough call to make. There's almost no alliances in EVE that are really pushing hard to crack down on their own botters.
Well, there was one point, didn't CCP release some data regarding alliances and accounts that had been banned belonging to those alliances for botting activities?
Yep.
And all groups had people in that list. Yeah.
The pie chart of
alliances
shame.
that were banned. That was alliances that were banned in general.
Oh, not just for botting?
It's everything.
It said
RMT,
alliances are banned. So if you go by
RMT
that,
botting,
I'm probably the
etc.
person with the most banned accounts here.
But yeah, what Rain said, it was everything. So it was like botting, RMT.
I could have swore there was a botting thing that came out too. I thought
no, it
wasn't?
said
Okay.
it says alliances by top numbers banned. Never said why they were banned.
All right.
But I do.
I've
never been banned.
It's from 2019, and it is just captioned permanently banned users.
Although, does anybody remember who was on top of that chart?
Don't need to remember it. I'm looking at it right now.
Who was it? Was it us?
It was Shadow of Death.
Right. Which alliance did you guys just come up here to help?
Huh.
Brave.
XIX.
Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest, Soundweir. Which alliance did you guys just come to defend?
We came to assist an entire coalition, not any specific alliance.
Very political, Sonya. Good job.
You're pretty good at this. Do you
I
do
liked
this
it. That was
professionally?
yeah, that was slick.
Wait, if I'm reading this right, the 3 top ones are all Russian alliances that are all members of Fire at this point, for the most part.
Yeah. So at the time, Drone Regions was the go-to place to do your botting thing, right? It was the.
Which makes sense because
Init Associates
that makes
has a
sense.
big chunk up there.
Say what, sorry?
Init Associates made the list.
Yeah, they had a pretty massive rental empire throughout the South and Fountain at different times throughout history. I mean, the 2019 chart, if I remember correctly, is like, decades of data, right? So it's going to be
It's not gonna change as much since.
But I think the initiative ones that got banned weren't for botting; they were for just being jerks to
But
their allies.
this is everything. This isn't just specifically one thing or another. This is everything. So it's kind of hard to be like, oh.
Initiative Associates was a renter alliance, if
I'm
I remember
teasing.
correctly.
You didn't hear what I said? I
Okay.
said they got banned for being jerks to their allies.
Well, Initiative maybe. but not
Stealing my
Initiative
carrier.
Associates.
That's why, fuckers.
Whoever said no test scene, kids with guns.
Kids with guns
To-
weren't our renters. When
Weren't
we
Whose
they
renters were they?
affiliated with Legacy though?
nope,
I thought they were.
they paid protection to everyone
Oh.
around them. We were just one of those people
Okay.
that also.
Eh.
Hmm.
Why don't we as a community get into the habit of not assigning blame for individual people's actions on an entire organization that they belong to?
That doesn't
Like-
sound like fun, no.
We've been doing that for years, and it's so obnoxious, especially when it becomes
Human nature.
Actually, do you
more
remember when,
vicious things.
Dom, because you said you liked Blackout. Do you remember when Blackout came out and all the kids with guns bots broke and they just had like 10 supers in 20 minutes because they were all botting?
See, that shit was fun,
It
right?
was like 12 supers over like 5 hours, but it was like absolutely fucking hilarious to watch.
Because the bots didn't know what to do because they couldn't see local.
Well, it's not that they didn't know what to do; it's that their fucking bot broke, right?
Yeah, the bot just stopped working.
Yeah, it, like stopped picking up local or something. So all of a
Well,
sudden they're.
didn't we have similar issues when Proton UI was released?
Oh yeah, Proton came out and
Yeah,
all the botters
took a little while to recode those things.
Yeah, but I mean, this one happened at like. It was just like some random glitch or something, you know. All of a sudden, local wasn't working properly, and these guys just lost all of their Nix bots in a day. Were Molars out there having a fucking field day.
Hard Knocks was
Yeah,
very
someone,
happy.
someone
And
needs to
nobody
talk to
was
those.
upset.
Someone needs to talk to those programmers because obviously they weren't handling things very well.
Yeah.
God, I don't even recognize some of these alliances.
Ultimate Ratio, that's not bad.
Who the fuck was X5 Shadows X?
No idea.
Who the fuck was Rolling Thunder?
They're obviously big enough to make the list of top alliances get with bans, right? That's kind of weird.
The Shadows one, I'm pretty sure, was just a Drone Ragens rental botter alliance.
Probably
Rolling
both were.
Thunder like rings like a very. I can't remember who Rolling Thunder is.
Well, because these aren't all necessarily soft holding alliances either, right? They're just alliances that had bans, so they could be, you know, anywhere.
Wait, what is this quote about Redline?
It's just a comment that Angry Mustache left on the post 2 years ago, when whoever posted this decided to make like a Pappy and Imperium version. Can you believe that war was 2 fucking years ago? Holy shit. A long time. Anyways, all that's
Crazy.
to say, I mean, all groups have bots in them. We know this.
Of
We've
course
known
they
this
do.
for centuries. Like it's nothing new. And I don't
So-
think you're gonna
some
find a
groups try-
single person that isn't a botter anywhere say like, oh yeah, botting's cool, it's great, we love it. The point is that the objectives of the Imperium, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but the objectives of the Imperium were to purge the rental empires. Yes or no?
Which we did, yeah.
No.
Where? Where did you
Oh,
purge the rental
everywhere,
empire?
everywhere. You find me a renter.
The Volta's still renting that guy.
No, they're not.
I
They,
mean,
stop,
private-
they
it's
just
private
stopped paying.
systems.
It's done. Over.
It's
Done.
private systems. That's right. I'm sorry. Oh, it's as far as I understand it, the goals were to
I think-
basically the goal was essentially to clean up B2 space or B3 space rather.
And
Which,
give,
I mean,
yeah, take a little pressure off of them,
kinda
which we
did.
did.
There was still this.
You know, my
I
goal was
structures.
my
I
goal was
found
to have
some
fun.
rental
Guess what I
space
did?
for you, Dominark. I put
Where?
it on the
Who-
stream.
It's
It's
not
down
there.
there in Impasse. It's owned by a little alliance called Dracaris. There's some rental space for it. I can't exactly pinpoint the members, but I can point you to the location. You live closer than I do. Also,
See,
I
no,
think this
here's
whole
what
group's in
happened
your
with that.
coalition.
Here's what happened to that. Right?
Uh-huh. What
It's
happened
rent
with
to
it?
own. They own it now.
Oh,
So
I
it's over.
see. Who
Yeah,
owns
it's
it?
over.
Dracaris still?
Yeah,
or...
Dracarys. Yeah, of course they do.
Okay, so who they're renting it though? That's the thing.
To who?
I don't know.
They
To
looks like
somebody.
they own it.
Of course they own it. That's how renting works.
Sorry, 1 second. I'll be right back.
Oh, you guys all got really quiet. That
I
was
thought
really
Discord
ominous.
broke for a
Yeah,
second.
I literally checked my mic. I'm like, did my mic go off? Like, because it
I
sounded like
spilled my
one of you
beer,
guys
so
was,
I'm sorry.
yeah, it would sound like you guys were yelling at each other for a second, then all of a sudden it just like cut off. I was like, oh, what?
Well, he made a very
I literally spilled my beer, so I got hold on.
he made a very
clean this up.
big mistake, so he had to spill his beer on him
I know.
to
I was
distract
pissed. No, I was so
everybody.
upset with. I'm so upset with Dracarys for still renting. That I
Right?
spilled my beer. Right.
Well, you're gonna have to go get rid of him.
Yep.
Deploy
You know what?
down
I'm
there.
gonna use all my diplomatic powers.
But
and get rid
in
of him.
doing so, you'll break the Southeastern Accords and suddenly start another world war.
Oh, I don't like
Anyways.
that. You know what?
So
There's always reasons people go to war and they claim they're going to go to war, but you know, it's all bullshit, right? We go to
Is
war to
it?
have fun. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, I wish that was something CCP would take on board a bit more. It's pretty rare when a war seems to start from a mechanic that's been introduced by them. It's usually over gripes of a personal nature.
So what was the
Never Beal?
objective here, Sonrir? If
Well,
it
there was a
wasn't to
war
purge the
over-
renters.
So
What was it for?
my recollection of the Fireside, going back, was to help secure space for B2 and friends.
was
So
to clean up
clearing
B2
out,
space.
clearing out Pureblind, Fade, and Declan, I believe.
They got Fade and Declan.
Yeah, because I
not
think
necessarily
the renters had
Pureblind.
already been purged, right? We'd already done that before this war started.
yeah, so they did clear out some time zone tanked structures, right, or some structures of Australian / Chinese time zone.
Yeah, my interpretation of the whole renter thing is that's more of a stance our coalition takes. It's not necessarily related to the war directly, as perhaps Redline is attempting to create.
I will say though, the initial
I'm not gonna
leaks
force our
for
boost on everybody
the
else.
Goon, the Imperium, the plane actually came from Dracarys renters. I'm just saying, your renters, Dracarys' renters leaked the deployment before everyone else.
Maybe they
So-
made it up.
As far as the deployment goes, I think there was a lot of talk about ending renting or kill all landlords or whatever you guys were saying at the start there, which was kind of the herf blurf kind of bravado, let's say.
I think Billy's 100% correct because I honestly, all that crap when you were talking that, it sound to me was like tongue in cheek, right? This is just the talking smack to talk smack. Honestly, as a line member, that's the way I took it. Right? This isn't really a thing. This is just
Which is fair, but
I
many people are right to call out the hypocrisy when Imperium members will call out Gobbins, for example, for the occasional herf blurf he'll do on stuff, and then look at their own side and not see their own herf blurf and go, maybe we were just talking a little, especially that week.
I have
course,
some
I've
words.
pointed
I
that out
have
many
some
times,
words from
right?
the fine Asher Elias that have
No,
aged very well. If you would like to turn your attention to the stream, I will
No.
play them. This isn't like the Cassius Belly for the war, but this is something. I'll just play it.
Me on which to truly test our
I have to
resolve.
listen.
The line member of Pappy said they were ready to claw their way into 1DQ, but the leadership of Pappy realized it would cost them more ISK, more hulls, more of the things they truly care about, and they called off the final assault.
I think that. Did you hear that? By the way, any of it?
Not on Discord.
I
Can you
did,
just
yeah.
repeat it?
Well, yeah, it was on the stream. So this is from the State of the Union, just a month ago, where Asher's talking about how the leaders of Pappy didn't want to finish their assault and called off the invasion because they didn't want to lose more ISK and more ships. And there are some parallels between that and this, regardless of you wanting to not compare the two.
It's not even why we
conflicts.
called off.
Well, what are those parallels that you're describing exactly?
Well, it's the exact same situation. The only difference
See,
is that
I would hesitate to
you-
call it the exact same situation. Changing to a jump clone
scale it
deployment versus
down.
pulling out to me is not really a good definition for exact.
Well, considering all of the dreads that left it, it might as well be an almost full evac. We won't call it a full evac, just to make you
But the
happy.
level of the wars weren't anywhere near the same.
Well, if you think about the
So
numbers, right? Scale it down.
Let's be clear here. Asher's comments are patently retarded. That's in a separate column from the fact that they are leaving after accomplishing their minuscule objectives, which they did succeed in. They didn't completely. So the objectives they set out was that they were going to clear Fade, Pureblind, and Declan, and push back Fraternity's invasion. Right? That's the quote unquote objectives that they've stated.
And they did 2.5 of those.
Yeah, I would say they did like 2, right? Because they didn't clear all the structures and they didn't clear all the soft, but they did a reasonable job of doing. Okay, sure, 2.25, whatever. They did a reasonable job of do. Well, I mean, I think there was like almost nothing in Fade to begin with, but regardless, they did that job. 2 months. They're not required to stay. This isn't their war. This is B3's war, right? So they come up, they do some stuff, then they leave after they kill the X-47 Keepstar, but then in perhaps a poor decision after they then spent a week or two attempting to kill more Keepstars in Venal and then failing. So instead of leaving kind of their high note after X-47, they leave on kind of the failure note of the Venal Keepstars. Regardless, they did accomplish their quote-unquote objectives. The fact that they set their objectives so low means that their victory doesn't really mean a lot, right? But they did accomplish that objective, and it's unfair to take that attempt to like jack that off them. If that makes sense.
And at the same time, actually, I think it's an interesting point to note how much total loss was involved for all sides contesting a single system. To me, that's speaks to the game health as a whole. There's no way to recoup that cost by owning a single system in nullsec. It's basically an outsized effort to take and hold nullsec compared to what it's worth, which is why we end up with so many wars based upon personal grudges rather than any sort of mechanics in the game.
Or strategic importance.
Right, and like it's basically we're fighting because we kind of want to fight. Those are the bad guys. We're the good guys. Let's get some.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, good leaders in this game have to find ways to start wars to keep their troops engaged, right? Because this is a game about PvP and conquest and whatever. So if you're not doing those things, your people just sit in a region and they fucking don't do anything, right? So if you're not providing your people content, you're not effectively doing, your actual core job kind of as a leader in Eve. So.
Right, but I see that job of leadership becoming increasingly difficult. And if we're really looking for an ecosystem here in this game where we have continued conflict on perhaps increasing or at least meaningful scales, it can't be so hard and so costly to everyone involved to make it happen.
No, I'd call bullshit on that one. It's never been easier to have conflict. Like, all you guys have to do, for example, for the Imperium, was just say, okay, we have jump clones in DO6H. You guys can bring up whatever you want, and we're just gonna have content up there all the time. Like, you've already effectively blued B3 for the next year, right? So B3 is not going away. You've now got a content border that you can utilize.
But
And
what the point I was making earlier though is I think there are varying levels of content. There's small gang roams, there's large tie-dye fights, there's sovereignty, there's structures, and some of those things are definitely more meaningful than others as far as the game is concerned, or even on a personal level. And to get those more meaningful fights and those things that matter, uh, I'm just concerned that there's increasing barriers to those types of things that will cause you to look back in a year and say, "Hey, man, you remember that?"
yeah, but the thing is that it's hard, right? It's not that it's can't be done; it's that it's hard, and you can
And
make the
I
you can
and
make
I
the argument that CCP should make it easier, but if you make it easier, then one, it loses its value in terms of doing it, but also two, it changes the dynamic so much that all like even an internal balance between war and the economies and infrastructure behind those wars. And if you enable war too much, then the economies and infrastructure behind all of Eve that the majority of people who play the PVE side enjoy cannot be enjoyed necessarily either.
see, I I kind of view the war as the demand side of the economic scale, right? If we're thinking like of it as a
Sure,
macroeconomics,
sure.
and the problem is when you lessen the demand, uh, you're going to affect both sides of this. You can't sit here and stifle the supply and then suddenly be surprised when no one's using capitals anymore.
Like
And
nobody, what I'm saying is that nobody's using capitals because nobody's taking any chances engaging in any wars.
right,
One
and
of the
no one's
one of
taking
the
any chances in engaging in those wars because it's so costly to replace. Right? They've implemented so many barriers to entry that those halves are not even risking what they have.
so what I will say is that those people just don't have any balls. Like take some balls and start a big war. Go do something cool. Like take some risk. Right? Like
Oh,
if
this
you're
is
so
actually a perfect segue.
okay, like but like what I was going to kind of cycle around to with these small objectives is, yeah, you set a small objective and you accomplish that objective. It's because you took no fucking risk, right? Like, there was absolutely an opportunity here to say, okay, we could pick a fight, start a larger war, and have more fun with it. But by
Here's the
setting the
thing, though,
objective
right?
so small, you effectively destroyed your own chance at getting a fun and engaging war that's going to carry content for you guys for months.
A system in which no one participates isn't a working system. So you can sit here and say that it's a personal issue where people aren't taking chances or taking risks, but you can hardly say that there aren't others who are doing the same. The problem here is a systemic one, it's not a personal one.
Speaking of taking risks,
So, go ahead.
I'll let Billy go.
Well,
I was
I
gonna
was just gonna
segue,
say,
but
fucking Discord lag. I was merely gonna say that the systemic issue of people being unwilling to take risk is something that is based on human nature, not on the game mechanics. We saw that even when the abundance era was at its highest, nobody was taking any more risk than they are now.
So yeah, I think I would argue that point. I think if we look back over the monthly economic reports to areas, to times when there was more abundance,
There was a
we
lot
could
more
see that
roaming,
there
I
was
think.
more
Yeah.
risk. Yeah, people were more likely to throw their capitals around. People were more likely to invade space. The
Could you give me
player
some
count.
examples?
I mean, quite frankly, I think just the number of capital ships that get thrown around for home defense purposes, whether they be part of a fleet or personal use, has gone down over time, and it's not necessarily tracked with player count. I think it's actually dropped quicker.
So I don't think that's a bad thing though.
No, I don't think you're saying it's a bad thing. It's just a thing, right?
It's a bellwether.
Yeah.
I don't think it is. Like I think there was no difference in the amount of meaningful content happening in the game, and I would debatably say there was less because even killing some random capitals, some random oracles, didn't fucking mean anything because they were so worthless that replacing them was nothing.
Okay, so how
Now
much? Go ahead,
now
sorry.
somebody goes and kills a couple oracles, it actually means something. You've accomplished an objective that's actually worth talking about, right? Not that
But
people are putting a ton of oracles in the belts anymore, but I remember at one point in Esoteria, the Imperium just jumped a suicide capital fleet into, I can't remember the system next to X7. Used to be a Keepstar system. Anyways, like it just like threw away like 70 capitals. It was like a suicide capital room, and like, yeah, we killed them, and it was like kind of whatever, but like nobody fucking cared.
because they were easy to
Yeah, I
replace
mean,
at the time,
I can
right?
see your
Yeah.
point. I guess things that are easy and common are generally considered lower value. But to
But
me,
you're making
the balance still feels not quite right.
you're making two different comments here. That you saw meaningful content and content. You're saying those are different, right? That's what you're saying.
100%.
Okay, because I would say even content has gone down now compared to what was because there's hardly any. There used to be rooms every day, every hour that people go out, and that's not maybe not meaningful content, but it's content. Even that's gone down, right? So I say all content has decreased some over the last 2 years.
I would happily be willing to agree that all content is probably down a little bit, and meaningful content is maybe down a little bit too. But the reasons those things are down is because the reason that meaningful content is down is because none of the current leaders in the game have any fucking balls to go do mega deployments.
But is part of that because anytime there's like meaningful content or risk, there has to be some reward, right? What right now? What's out there to drive any of the leaders from anybody to start a big war,
So
other
there,
than just for the war itself, right? There
well,
really is no.
that's what I'm circling back to at the start here. Sorry, is that somebody has to go take that step to lead that war to make it happen, right? Somebody has to, be the Asher and say, yeah, we're going to go declare war on Fraternity. We're going to fight them and, evict all renters from Tribute or make renting not a thing or whatever, and then carry it out, right? Like you can do the small objective path and you can succeed at your small objective, but
You
that's
get
it.
small rewards. Yeah,
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 like
yeah. Okay.
the meaningful, like X47 was fun, meaningful content for the entire Imperium a ton of times, right? And just like it was meaningful content for the Imperium, it was meaningful content for Frat, for Horde, for everybody. The Imperium's deployment created this meaningful content, this thing that everybody wanted to show up, this piece event that was interesting, that caused people to log in, plex, play, all the things that matter. But then the objective achieved. Okay, time to go home, right? And now, what are you looking forward to in Dell for the next 3 months? It's like, oh, well, I guess
Well, if
we'll
you're a
get to
crab, you're super happy. But
Yeah.
but somebody like me, you're right. Now I'll have to find something else to do. But here's a serious question: Does it have to be the Imperium that does this? I mean, to be fair, right? Does it have to be us that goes out and starts this big fight?
It
The other,
doesn't have to be.
the other groups aren't doing that either. I'm
It's
just
your
pointing that out,
turn.
right? Yeah, it isn't
Yeah.
our turn.
Well, to be fair, it kind of is, but
Okay, so
yeah, I'm
the
saying it
last
doesn't always
thing,
have to be
the
us.
last
It can
big
be
thing that
others,
happened
right?
was Horde evicting Fire from their space. Before that was Horde defending Fire from getting evicted from their space with your half-ass deployment. And then before that, by the way, there were no like massive set piece anythings in that one. And then before that was World War B2. So what Goons haven't really done anything super offensively since like 2018. I know
Probably
because
not.
I was
No,
there.
You're not wrong.
I
But
would- so
now I
this
want
is
to
a-
come back
is-
to the content thing, though,
Oh,
right?
1 second.
If we get the content flowing again, I mean, I'm not saying meaningful content. All content when it comes to PvP. I'm not talking about PvE stuff. You get PvP content flowing again from all sides, right? Just the small stuff going out roaming. That sets up a situation where we can't get I'm so mad at that guy. Let's go get him now. Since we're not doing that part of it, it makes it that much harder for us, any side to go, let's go kick their ass. Because I mean,
yeah,
doing
day-to-day
that
content is always good. It's just it's a function of 1,000 different micro mechanics and micro decisions, and there's no perfect answer on how to
All I'm getting
improve.
from this is Dominarch just wishes he had missed fleets.
Well,
Oh, good.
actually, let's stop right there because missed fleets are a perfect example of someone taking the lead on making content for hundreds of other players, right? Does anybody in this room think Mist is not good for this game? Is not a fucking champion of content for this game,
No, I love the dude. Hell yeah. he
right?
is.
Like the
Yes.
people he takes in his fleet, the people he attacks, everybody loves Mist, right?
I'd actually like to learn a little bit more about that, right? Like, what are the mechanics in Horde that causes an FC like Mist to be a thing? Like, how are you encouraging your line members to join that?
But
You
They're
just-
not.
you
It's content.
Sonya,
you
honestly,
Well, I mean,
content's
no, I
the-
mean, but
you literally
maybe
It's
maybe
what
I'm
I used to do in
overgeneralizing here,
Goons.
but
no. So to be clear, you
Yes.
just enable that FC. So you say, go do your thing. When he feeds, you don't fucking shit on him. You give him keys, you give his fleet's reimbursement. You create a cycle where people can go on his fleet and get reimbursed and have fun, and you create a situation where he feels supported, he has the time, and he has the people, like, even when things go bad, saying, whatever, man, you did great. Like, that's what creates that situation, right?
and he has to be a decent FC, at least one that's fun to go on fleets with, because sometimes he
Yeah,
does feed, right? So, and people don't care; they keep going on his fleet. So obviously, the guy's a good FC and does a good job, right? The Imperium has had that in the past. Village knows when you were here. You remember?
Well,
we
you guys-
had that in the past. We don't really have that now.
The
a person
Imperium
like that,
had
right?
one of these guys join the Imperium, like, what was it, like a month or two ago, and we're like, was it Nem or Zigum, or I can't remember who it was. He was in Imperium for like a couple
Zigum
weeks.
was in Goons.
Yeah, and then like he couldn't get any keys, and nobody would let him FC, so he just
Or no,
left.
he would. So he'd be able to take out rooms, but then if they fed, he just immediately got shit on by everyone, and
Yeah.
it's like.
That's a key. I think you pointed out, Billy.
I think you're hearing one side of the story.
I think, yeah, probably. But
Absolutely.
but not
I
shitting on
disagree.
people for feeding is important, right? That is an important step because new FCs will stop. I've done it, right? I've taken fleets out, got my ass kicked, got yelled at, and fuck it, I'm not taking fleets out anymore, right? It's just you can't do that. If you want people like Mist, you can't do shit like that, and that's important. It's hard, but it's hard when you have a big group that wants to look good. You know, Redline knows.
It's true. I do. I was there.
Yeah.
Like, I
the
used
thing
to
with
do that shit
the
in
thing with the
Goons all the
Imperium
time.
was nice was we had the what was it called oh
The
my
Scare
god
Bears.
Hash Hashes used to do what's it fucking called? Oh my god.
What?
I think he's just
What are
drunk
you-
I'm
rambling.
trying to fucking remember the name of the fleet style where we just go out and die. God damn it.
Whelp Squad?
Whelp Squad, right? Whelp Squad was a
Don't-
great thing.
Ugh.
It was fun. I'll shut up. It was
Gross.
fun. We had a
Havish,
good time. We'd go out there, and if you died, you died. That's the way to do stuff, and that's kind of what Mist does, I think, right? Oh, Billy left this.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing is, like, why doesn't anybody in Goons do that? Thunder, if it's not
think
because
people
they
some-
get shit on, then why not?
Well, I think we've got plenty of FCs who take out roams.
Damn.
That's kind of why my question. I mean, I do weekly roams.
I know you
we've
do,
got
but
skirmish commanders
This does
who
like 3
take
a
out.
day.
Well, I mean, it's not just 3 a day though, right? There's
we have
there's,
less
there
right
is
now
something,
than we
people
did,
have
though.
there
lives.
is there is something different about the situation, which is why I'd asked my questions to Billy earlier, is because I feel that when it comes to Eve players, as much as we like to highlight our differences, I think we're more the same than we are different. And so, what is it about his environment or his situation or himself or any of these other things we can look at that result in him with 150 people in fleet for what is essentially just a roam?
If
It
you
would be
have
nice
to
to know.
ask,
Yeah, it'd be nice.
then you'll never know. It's very
That's
simple.
that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. If you have
It's
to ask,
not.
you'll never know.
So, like,
no, it
ask,
literally is.
ask,
Shut up! You're wrong. Be
ask
quiet.
anybody who was in my fleets back then
No,
what
if
it was
you-
about my fleets, because
That's
that's what I did
exactly
in
how you
Goons.
learn. No, if you have to ask, you'll never know.
It's
See,
the
that's
fact
that's the
that-
antithesis of just about everything I believe. You ask questions
like-
because you're interested and you want to learn.
It's like Billy said. It's the fleets are SRP'd. He actually the biggest driver of people like continue showing up even with the feeding is he gets content.
That's a big key too. Yeah. If I take a fleet out and roam around 35, 50 jumps, don't encounter anybody because I don't know where the fuck I'm going, I'm not going to get people to come in the next fleet, right?
He
So
just goes to a hostile
he's
staging
good.
and
He's doing a good
forces them
job,
to do
right? Yeah.
something.
But
And I
so on your
guarantee
serious question,
that his fleets
as
didn't
we're
start
both
out
in the
with
same group,
150 people.
don't you think right now we got less people doing than we used to? Right? See, that's a fair statement or not? It seems like we have less people taking roams out than we used to. And maybe that's going to change here. You guys are working on it. I get it. But
Well, I mean, we tend to cease roams when we're deployed and
for
things
sure.
like that.
Yeah, you're right. I get that.
But
I
you weren't
actually, Billy
deployed
brought up
for
a good
long
point.
Time.
We should
So what was
use
the problem
DO6.
then?
We should use DO6 for roams, right? We keep shit up there. Fuck it. Every once in a while, hey, let's take 50 people, jump clone up to DO6. We'll go down and roam. Why wouldn't we use that? And we probably will, right? That'll probably be a staging place for some fun content. I don't see why it wouldn't be.
So, Sandra, I want to answer your question truthfully. All right. So here's how it works. When Mist started out, he was just getting started, right? He hadn't been a big, huge FC for anybody, and he was leading roams because he was having fun, and he wanted to keep having fun. So his first fleets were small, but when he fed, as all new FCs do, he got back to the locker room and everybody in the FC channels patted him on the back instead of throwing rocks at him, which is a difference between what happens outside of Goons and what happens in Goons. Because he got the support that he was looking for, he was able to continue to lead fleets and continue to provide content to fleet members, who then told other other members of Horde in their corps, "Hey, come on this Mist fleet. This guy's dope." And now, because he's consistently getting the support and people enjoy his fleets, he gets a ton of people in his fleets just for roams.
It's also worth pointing out that FCs take on a ton of work, so it's very hard to do without any volunteer effort, so having that helps as well. Whether it's people finding wormholes, people scouting, people flying dictors, people multi-boxing
It
links, a
is
lot GFC,
not
etc.
hard to do in any way, shape, or form.
Doing all
that's
of the
that's not
above,
true.
yes, it
She's
is.
correct. It is hard to do.
It is very nice
You
to have
need to
somebody who can
delegate.
tell
Some
Not
people are better
for-
at it
or
than
who can
others.
scout.
Not for basic roams. You don't have to go that far. It's just
I mean, if you're
find
like,
a wormhole and warp.
hey, we're continuously okay. Finding the wormhole itself is very difficult unless you're only using Thera, in which case you have other people doing it.
I mean,
But like that's a huge part, and that's why like a lot of groups kind of have dedicated parties to do that. Like hey, here's wormholers, and they just go out and explore, and then they map the wormholes. Or, hey, here's like the Logi people who love Logi, or the people who organize the links, so the FC doesn't have to do it.
Yeah, and
That's
of
another
course, those
factor.
people are there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just saying, hey guys, we're meeting in Jita and we're burning to Brave Space because they live in, I don't know, Tribute or whatever, then that's something completely different. But if you're like going from bumfuck nowhere nullsec to another area bumfuck nowhere nullsec, trying to like get a gank or something, then yeah, that's gonna take effort.
Well, Sanre, did that sufficiently answer your question?
I appreciate the input. I think it's going to be a longer discussion and longer learning period before I think I'm truly satisfied, but I'm on the roadway.
Well, I tell you what, I would encourage you to bring up the next generation of FCs as content creators first, and not state, what's the word? I don't know what the word is, but not people who are only bound to what the Imperium wants, which is I think what you've got most of now.
We got some good FCs in the Imperium. Whether or not,
Of course you do.
yeah, I mean, man, that leading Rome's and stuff out, a different story. But I think we got some really good FCs. But I don't know.
So who here heard the fire soda?
I heard the fire soda.
I did not.
It was
As
it was
it was a thing.
I forgot that it happened, honestly. It was so insignificant to me. What?
It was very funny though.
Do you have bullet points? Did you make bullet points? Not like real bullet points, but
I think I did. Let me check. I might have sent them to Luke. I think I might have only done it for I only did it for the GTC soda. I remember the me and Luke were talking about it while it was happening. It was the bullet points were essentially Branch is still our long-term goal. We're still gonna fight to take Branch. I don't know why it is, but it is. He went on this rant about
Seems like a laudable goal, though.
being deployed to catch to kill. I don't know why that was part of his soda, but he was going on about Snuff being deployed to the catch. He went on about Init's deployment to Odabin. He called Goons cowards, and then he said if Branch doesn't work out, he said he hopes Goblin isn't too mad with him, so we can go back to the southeast. That was the fire soda.
how delusional do you have to be to like listen to that and still maintain your membership to that group?
My favorite quote from it was actually So I assume everyone.
I'm kind of a coward,
everyone
so he's
here
not
knows.
wrong.
Everyone here knows the KFR Dread Bomb. The Arcadius feeding Titans on his move up.
Big one.
According to Constantine, their plan is when this big war ends to take Branch, so they have some income, and then they can start SRPing those supers and Titans one by one.
And this was from someone trolling in the chat, right?
Yeah, Aquila baited them into like.
Oh, nada.
It was it was a.
That doesn't matter who it was.
It was Aquila that was.
It doesn't matter who it
really
was. It was essentially just somebody in the chat was trolling, saying that they hadn't gotten SRP for their ship yet, and then Constantine, instead of ignoring it, just started talking about it.
Gave the legitimate answer, the non-bullshit answer, which is a little bit Monka-esque.
Which is kind of sad, but it's also kind of expected, right? I mean, this is I don't know what to call it anymore. Do we still call it a coalition? Do we call it an alliance now? Like, what is it really?
Fire's a coalition still. They claim
all right. So this coalition got basically ripped apart by getting kicked out of their space and having a ton of their supers and titans die.
It's not a ton.
It was more than zero, so it was a ton.
So the super,
at those costs.
So the first move up, which if bribe money wasn't taken, the first move up might have gotten dropped if Init helped. Was about 100 Titans and 200 supers. The one that like Arc fed was like 7 Titans and 7 super, like 5 supers or something. So it's
Okay.
pretty small in comparison.
Well, the real Rufus asks if we're gonna talk about how fire isn't SRPing super losses. That's
That is what
exactly
we're
what we're
talking about.
talking about. Actually, you hit the nail on the head. You must be listening to the show.
But
What was the
so it
was the
wasn't a
GTZ
massive
soda?
amount.
The fire soda's meh, but was GTC's at least juicier?
Essentially, they're moving the DO6, which were and Starfleet started the quote, "We're the last and he meant to finish the word independent, but he started the word independent, stopped, and then rephrased it because he couldn't call B2 independent anymore. But it was essentially, we're moving the DO6. Next 2 weeks are going to be the hardest 2 weeks of our lives, and that was really
DO6.
it. Goon staging in the north.
What region is DO6 in?
DO6H.
That's in
It's
Fade.
Fade. It's
Fade.
on the region on the Declan.
Okay, so they're
It's right next to-
they're further north.
They moved further east. They moved out of the Sino Jam the Pocket to something that's kind of useful.
Oh, and they're still right there. Are they in jump range of like X47, KQK, all that? Well, no, obviously they wouldn't be, but UTAC I is, right?
DO6 is in range of X47.
Yeah, DO6 is in range.
Okay, the dotland map's kind of weird. So, I mean, it's not a bad spot. So it's basically, I guess it's
DO6 is
not
good
like
staging.
World War B2 was.
But yeah, living. We're a lot of us were just kind of surprised it took us so long to move the DO6H. Because C4C is like the I don't want content staging. So if you look at the jump ranges for like C4C, they are utter dog shit.
And
And it's
C4C that's not Fade though, is it?
It's the back ass and like the back constellation of Fade that sticks out into the void of nothingness. at the edge of
Okay.
the map.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
But no, it was that was essentially the GCC was they were deploying the DO6. That was their big, and the next 2 weeks are going to be the hardest of their lives.
And none of them mentioned the Keepstar?
Starfleet didn't. Constantine did. Constantine said, "Yeah, we all expected this to happen." SFC didn't mention it at all.
Kind of seems like just kind of trying to pull the wool over people's eyes, I guess. I don't know, make it seem like it's not a big deal. Because this is, I mean, having the Keepstar back there though is pretty detrimental to the whole B3 pushback.
It's now just a better grid. There are
what, they did you a favor? Thanks for
the
killing
grid
our
is-
structures. Now we can
it is now a
organize better.
It is now a Keepstar surrounded on all sides by forts.
So it's a Dyson sphere.
So the X47 has a lot of fucking structures in it, my guy. There are 8, I think it's 8 Frat forts, 1 Volta, 2 Goons, 2 Frat Astros, 2 Frat Athenors. It's like 20 structures actually, I think, in system or something in total.
And the Goon Fortizar is still there, right?
Yeah, both their siege
Yes.
forts are still on the X40 or the JTEC Seagate and X47.
But that's the old Keepstar grid. This Keepstar is
that's the old
somewhere
one.
else, right?
This is on the iHub.
On the iHub. That's incredible. This is an even better spot because now if they want to take the iHub, they've got to contend with Skynetting.
You just, yeah.
They just don't take the iHub at that point. So this isn't
their
going
best
anywhere.
bet, like Billy said, was when for the kill timer for the X47 keep, they could have just toasted the entire consti. Don't know why they didn't, but that would have been the best time essentially to do it because it was uncontested.
Yeah, now they won't really even have a chance.
Well, if Goons stayed north like entirely, there was a chance, but Goons being on a JC deployment.
I don't want to just leave without saying goodbye, but it's dinner time for me, so I hope you all have a good
Hey,
evening.
thanks for stopping by,
Enjoy
buddy.
Yeah,
dinner.
thanks
Appreciate
for
it.
coming. I
You're
was just
welcome
about to ask
anytime.
you a bunch of questions.
I'll get
How
to
you,
them later.
Dom?
Next week.
That's
I don't
fine.
know anything.
Yeah, we'll ask Tom. It's okay.
But
it's
I'll
okay.
give you answers. It just won't be right.
I thought you were the shadow leader, Dom.
Yeah, I am. Ask me anything.
What's
I'm
our
gonna get
next
fucking.
topic?
I'm actually looking at. I'm gonna get fucking pinged here in a little bit. Get Dominic off there, that fucker.
What's our next topic? What do you want to talk about now?
I don't know.
I'll post
What
an
else?
image of the grid in guest lounge for you, Redline, because it's not secret. I think that it was immediately posted on Reddit as
Oh no,
everything was angering.
I'm logged out on the iHub, or not the iHub, on the Sinojammer right now.
Yeah, I guess
Goodness
there is the
gracious.
grid.
With drones. Those are drones or those structures?
Yeah, there's just drones up
Where
there.
are you
I don't
posting
know
this?
why.
Oh, okay.
The guest lounge, you can see.
Oh,
it
I
now.
see. I was
I
looking
don't
at the stream. I didn't see it on the stream.
But yeah, you can see there are, what is it? 6 forts, Keepstar, iHub, TCU, Jump Bridge. On the grid, I think the Jammer's also on this grid.
Yeah,
What system's that?
at the top.
X47.
X47.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think
Yeah,
that
mistakes were
this-
made for sure on X47, but what do you do? I mean, shit happens, right?
Was this sorry to interrupt. Was
Hi,
this
Marius.
good evening. Was this horde fleet money thing already discussed?
Horde
It's
fleet
part of the
money
thing.
thing? No, it was not yet.
It's I don't get the like the fascination people have. It's like
It's
the TLDR
hilarious.
is you go on StratOps, you get paid. I don't see how you can't argue being paid to play the game, like being paid to go on fleets is a bad thing.
No, that's our corp does that. It's a great thing.
I argue that it's a funny thing. Like I've seen people that'll pay like the top PAP earner for the month or something like that, but never anything that's like a salary for playing the video game. Granted, it's an in-game salary.
The way our corp does it is everyone has a minimum number of PAPs they're supposed to do a month, right? But if you don't get it, right? So like it's 8, right? You have you have a dues to pay. If you do 8 PAPs, you don't pay any dues, right?
Hey, Mr. Unlucky, thanks
All
for the
right,
raid,
I like this
friend.
guy. So you don't pay any dues. If you go above the 8, right? Everyone that goes above 8, those numbers are put in a pool of all the people who ended up paying in. They divvy that money up to the people who did the extra PvP.
But no, people have this weird fascination. It's like, look at them, they have to pay people. It's like, oh, how is this a bad thing? People getting paid to show up.
Yeah,
it encourages
honestly sounds
multi-boxing.
based.
It heavily encourages multi-boxing as well, because if you show up with 3 accounts, you're now being paid triple. I don't see the bad thing here. Getting paid to go in fleets. You can't. You just can't do it. Like, you can't just like grip into it and be like, "Oh, look at this, ha ha ha." It's like
I can think
I
of
can see
several
where
bad
the
things.
spin could possibly come from, but like all I see is that it encourages people to come to fleets, to multi-blocks, to like if anything, that's an incentive for people to join Horde. So
Yeah, have fun, have content. I
and
think
it's
a
an
good
incentive.
thing.
Like I said, the multi-box is the big one, because now if you multi-box, you're now being paid 2 to 3 the however many accounts you're running more than everyone else. I don't know. I just can't see it as a bad thing. I get why people are just memeing on it. And it's just at the same time, it's just like,
Well, I don't think it's a
So
bad
what?
thing, but I think it's a funny thing. I had never thought that I would see something like this, and I wouldn't be the one that thought of it, honestly.
We've been doing it for years. What are you talking about? Oh, Mafune's
yo,
here.
look in drag me.
I got him.
Who am I looking for?
Mifune.
He is
Hey,
here.
buddy.
Sword
I
God.
feel like
It's Mifune.
I feel like
You can
like
finally come on the
advertising-
show! Mifune, you can finally come back!
I've always been able to come back. I
Fuck you,
didn't
you
come
liar.
back by choice.
Hold on, Marius was saying something. Hold on.
I'm sorry.
I was just saying, I feel like advertising ISK per hour for a fleet is different to like
What I was saying.
reducing your penalties of or reducing your dues. You know what I'm saying?
But we reduce our dues,
the
and
past-
if you go over your dues, then you get paid out, right? Like if I did 10 fleets, I'd get paid for 2. Whatever the amount over was divided by the number of people went over, I'd get 2 shares of it, right? So it's both.
Oh yeah, it's like if you're required to go on 8, but you did 10, you get paid.
I would
for
get
the
actually get
extra.
paid for those. Yeah, exactly.
No.
I've had months where I've made billions doing the fleets.
I
so.
made I'm just gonna say this now off PFL. I made like 3.5, 4 billion in like a 2.5 week period. I'm not complaining.
It's
I
awesome.
don't have to, I'm
I
not crying.
have
I'm
no
just
problem with it.
PvPing.
Yeah, I have no problem with it. Yeah.
I mean,
it's
I
a good thing.
think it's definitely. I don't know. I've stopped giving a shit about.
It won't
no
work in
politics.
wormholes.
I stopped giving a
Just
shit
tease.
about no politics, right? But like, I think it's definitely like a weird-ish play to have something like paying line members to join fleets. I mean, it's valid. It's a sandbox. You do you, but like, it is like one of those things that we necessarily haven't seen before. So it's new, it's weird, and it's awkward. Whether it will work out or not is a completely different story. And whether or not it like actually increases Horde's fleet participation is another thing. And then the other thing is that it could just be a big fucking meme last 2 weeks and then, die into obscurity like half of CCP's changes to the game.
I would also like to point out, Redline, the person who made this meme also is the same person who's like, look at this Horde member selling dreads to goons in Delve,
I know.
and then an AKC gamer bought it and he immediately deleted his post.
I know. It's just he
So-
does make good graphics sometimes, and this one it just has the ping, and this is what I wanted to see and display. So thank you, Guy, for making a graphic that didn't suck too much.
My favorite one he
Appreciate
made though is when he was trying to shit talk Horde and his entire image was just the goon pings.
Yeah.
I think my
He's
from all
missed.
the screenshots, the best one was definitely where it had Alterai being "Have I made it into the screenshot compilation?"
Oh, that was a good one. I think that was the one where it was like majority just the goon pings.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty damn funny.
That was
I'm
a
not
swing
gonna
and a miss.
The fucking propaganda for like the entire northern war was
Shit.
just shit, man. It was awful.
I do want to say thank you, Mifune. One of your attempts at propaganda was actually like a BFL recruitment ad.
Which one?
So
The,
some of them were
the
pretty
He-Man
funny.
one.
Oh,
Though.
the one with the best FCs.
All
Is
the
that
best
one?
FCs, this group that encourages multi-voxing, has cap alts. It's like, how is this is a good thing.
Out of making those memes, my favorite has to be the BFL is just a SIG and 900 other jokes you can tell yourself.
I farmed so much karma off your post, by the way. Like
Dude,
Puss in Boots one.
I
I'm
have
like,
farmed.
I just go, didn't Puss the Puss in Boots one fighting Death, where you named Death Goon Redemption arc, and then Puss in Boots Hordes. I'm like, didn't Puss in Boots win this fight in the movie? And I just got like 90 upvotes.
I think whatchamacallit, I think my entire karma farming had to be from the post yesterday of everybody maulding that I left goons. Just the sheer.
I thought your post was just fine.
When Horde members were upset that I left goons, that was kind of funny.
I'm being painfully reminded that Eve is half posting on Reddit.
Not the good
Third
half
now.
though.
A third.
So
what?
far, my wormhole experience has been nothing but just shitting on how Nullsec has 2 brain cells, while collectively we're streaming my wormhole group tonight, and he just goes to one of our allies because we couldn't find content, so we went to one of our like blue troll other wormhole groups, and one of our directors just casually gave him our in-hole, so they brought shit to fight us. And having Mark Resurrectus just sitting there on the stream, just fucking raging at the entire fucking corp.
I put it in guest lounge, Redline.
Okay.
Are you liking the wormhole so far?
The classic the Mifune recruitment post.
Yeah, I will say I am
59
absolutely, I'm absolutely loving wormholes so far. It is such a nice change of pace to what Nullsec was. We're having lots of fun crabbing. The money's great, and then the fights. I just had my first wormhole fight today, and it is by far
a lot more fun.
So much more fun. Like there was a point where we kept switching on and off this hostile widow, and it was like, is it gonna die? Is it gonna catch reps? Oh my god, it's 10% armor. Oh my god, it caught reps at 1% armor and jumped up to 52 because all of the Guardian reps landed on the same fucking tick. So I don't know. It's been a blast. I am absolutely enjoying it.
Oh, I'm glad. I wish you the best of luck. Have fun. Make sure you're not a stranger.
I'm not a stranger.
All right.
Eventually we'll roll into there was immediately, I think it was like 4 hours after I had gotten into the hole, somebody rolled a hole into Iridia and was like, "Hey, let's
know
go to
these people."
1DQ." Somebody's like, "Hey, let's go to 1DQ." I'm like, "You know, I just left 12 hours ago, right?"
I guess I'm confused. What
By what?
What stopped you from doing that in Goons?
Got
So
bullied by Cryo.
No, I mean, yeah, I did get bullied by Cryo, and he's an asshole. But
Well, he's not.
it
Here.
may,
You don't have to worry about him.
the thing is that you know, goons are very bureaucratic and always have been. And it's just always when you're rolling with goons, you always have to deal with certain policies. You know, great example is Pittsburgh getting nailed for the Fortizars and catch and that whole situation, right? Goons historically have always had very restrictive and very large policies. Um, some of the when I first started wanting to branch out from things other than nullsec, right? And this is a question that came up a lot in the Reddit thread yesterday. Was, you know, why couldn't you just do this stuff in goons? And the thing is because of the policies, right? When the faction warfare change hit, we were told as goons, do not flag yourself for faction warfare until an official alliance policy comes out. And the reason they wanted to do that, it was a good reason. It's not like they're just there for nothing. The reason that they had that there was because they didn't want one goon joining Caldari where the other would join Minmatar, and then you would have blue and blue violence, and then, you know, shit would grow from
Them
that.
crying
So
and drama.
exactly.
It's honestly, it's less. Most people just didn't give a shit. It's more the one person who does and gets boxed.
Exactly.
You now have
So
a shitstorm of paperwork to deal with, and no one wants.
exactly. So it's like I totally understand why the policy was there. It was just like, great. What am I supposed to do then? Sit here and twiddle my thumbs until we go for X47 again? Right? So I got not necessarily sick of the policies. I understood why they were there, but I felt restricted. I felt closed in on my options of what I could do other than nullsec content. And it goes the same thing for wormholes, right? Like in Goonswarm, you can have your I could go out there and just get a pos, go in a C2 and just do whatever in there. But that's not exactly.
But no, serious question,
That's not
Infinity.
social.
Could you, as an FC, do that, or were you more restricted? Do you think, as an FC?
The FC org is incredibly restrictive within
okay.
Goons.
So I can do what the fuck
especially-
I want, right? In all honesty.
Goons.
Well, I'm still in the Imperium, right? I'd be easier for me to do what I want because I'm not part of that group. Once you're part of that group, you take on certain responsibilities and not responsibilities, but
exactly
requirements, right? They expect you to do certain things.
And then as an FC, not only do you have expectations, but you're also expected to uphold that reputation as an FC. And that's the way it goes, right? Like by being an FC within Goons, you are putting yourself in that responsibility to do that, right?
But you're putting yourself in responsibility. You're not being forced to.
No, you're not being forced to at all. But you have
there are more
options
restrictions, right? For sure, right? There are more restrictions.
Right. There's a lot more restrictions.
I don't mean to cut you off, Infinity. This is actually a perfect opportunity red line because it's on where it's not here anymore. But the whole like with Zigum and why Goons don't have missed like FCs.
I'm not gonna go on my unhinged things and statements with the FC org. Well, that's what TTT is for. But
No, don't do
at the
that.
same time, I
Don't
have
get in trouble.
I
That's
have
fine.
only been out of Goons for 2 days. I
You
am
don't have to go
leaving
there if
on
you don't
good
want to.
terms. I am leaving on good terms.
Well,
I
you've already
enjoy
left.
Goons. Well, I left on
you're
good
free.
terms.
wants
No,
to
I
stay on
am
good
free,
terms. He
but
wants to
I
stay on
want to
good
stay on good terms. You know, I'm while I do have my opinions, those opinions are have been shared with the appropriate people in a constructive way.
I'm sure.
But you can still this was an entire conversation we did have earlier, though. It's like why goons don't have more mist-like FCs.
And Sonru did give us kind of he was curious as well. I gave him my opinion. So I mean, you're
I
allowed
put
to give
forth.
yours.
I think we used to have them, more of them like that. We did.
Yeah, and then
we
I
just don't
left.
right now.
It was when goons had things like Liberty and shit
Well, I
like
think
that.
Whelp
I
Squad.
think
It's just
what killed I
it's gone
think
down a
what
little bit.
killed stuff like that is honestly I think it's purely about the financial aspect of Good Swarm as an alliance, right? The World War B2 and the Delve War in general. I personally think, and I don't have access to those kinds of channels, anything like that, but just from what I can infer, with my experience, is that the financial blow to the Imperium was much, much larger than initially thought from the Delve War. And I think it's just a matter of they're taking that financial security over a lot of things, including the looseness of newer FCs going out there and whelping for whelp's sake, right? And from a game perspective, that is very true on the outside for goons too, and very obvious. Pandemic Horde has very large financial income from the renting and everything, and I have my own opinions on why renting is right. Um, so
Say so.
yeah, like Pandemic Horde is renting, goons have taxes, right? But whereas the Alliance wallet is much, much larger for an Alliance like P Word, I feel like that the Goon financial wallet is small, recovering, and growing.
That shouldn't impact the individual line members' wallet. Like, you should still be able
No,
to
it
do
doesn't.
shit stack
It doesn't.
SRP like in the old days.
Well, that is true, and that's what people do. Like you see Whiskey going out there, and you see Whiskey going out there during peacetime and doing his ESS rums with the shit stack. That is still there.
Good. Is he
With
still
the
around, or did he
Zigam,
phase out because of the conflict in the north?
no, well, I believe he took out a few fleets during the war. I'm not entirely sure
So
though.
he phased
I don't
out. Got
have
it.
access to that stacks anymore. But
See, that's what
that kind of stuff
happens.
happens.
That's what happens in
With
Goons is that you get these people, these up and comers that do the roams and shit, and then you go war mode, and then you pull out your apple pears and your fucking Asher Eliases. You pull out all these skeletons from the closet, make them bash structures, while the up and comers just watch and get bored, and then go somewhere else. The vicious cycle.
Speaking of going somewhere else, it's bedtime for me. I gotta turn out the lights.
Good night, Marius.
Have a good night.
No, I refuse. Anyways, I don't really know where we go from here, so what do you think? Silence? Really? You're gonna hit me with a silence right now?
I mean, I don't know. You're the host. Bring the topic. I'll bring the conversation.
Well, I made a point about the FC thing, and I was hoping I could get a response from you about that. But it's okay if
Well,
not. We can just move to the next topic. People really liked when we were talking about the FC stuff. It's an interesting topic. We could do a whole show on it at some point. I think we should, but
and you can bring a lot of the Goon FCs on here to talk about it when they're willing.
can't. They don't want to come. Very sad. Well, anyways, there was a goon. Well, I don't know whose mishap it was. Does anybody know anything about this Titan dying in J5A?
Yes.
Being
So that was
AWACS?
that was a commissar of an according to Asher, that was a known horde spy that they kept around, that they fit. According to what I do know, they found out that he was a spy during the Northern War, and they kept him around until the move ops home would happen, and then they did exactly what they intended to do, which was Commissarius Titan and then kick him during the move op. So that's what they did. They went out and they kept him around during the Northern War, and then when it went time for all of the Supers and Titans to go home, we jumped into J5A. We had blue Hick bubbles up, and we primaried the Titan.
So y'all kept a spy around for 5 years.
No, so we didn't know that he was a spy for 5 years. We only recently found
Oh.
out he was a spy during the Northern War. He just
Gotcha.
happened to be in there for 5 years.
That's crazy.
The Toon was only ever a Titan pilot, by the way. So it was a 5-year Titan spy, Titan Pig spy.
So who was this? Did someone claim
have no
this guy yet?
I have no idea who it was.
No idea who it was, and I don't think anybody ever will.
Good evening. I have returned.
Welcome back. Someone's
Oh
gotta
no!
claim this.
Let me run back into my hole.
No, stay.
Oh, actually, Sondra's back. I thought you were.
I am back.
Nice.
He eats dinner quick. He eats dinner very quick. I can attest to that. To the many times of Sondra, quick. I got shit to do. Get on a back seat.
The thing is, like, right, when you have kids, when they're young, you learn to eat very quickly because you don't know when you'll have another opportunity, and it's just a habit that you develop, and I think hold on to.
I think that is factual. Mr. Unlucky is claiming this character is his. I don't think that's true. Doesn't seem the type. But I mean,
Sounds
maybe.
like a Mr. Unlucky also, honestly.
I don't know. Well, I mean,
Yeah, it's probably unlucky.
We can zip right along. The rest of this stuff is a little bit weird. Rain is deafened right now, so we won't talk about the Alliance tournament stuff. But we got some patch notes today. You guys see, you see these patch notes?
How CCP fucked up anti-aliasing, yeah.
Did they fuck it up? It says they upgraded it.
So they upgraded it, and then there was a couple of posts on Reddit. If you look on it, there's screenshots put. Basically, the old issue with anti-aliasing, if many of you probably remember ever undocking, and then you get a bug where there's like 1,000 lasers like shooting at your ship.
Yep.
Did anybody ever? Yeah. So that was because of the old anti-aliasing system. Basically, they were supposed to fix that with this upgrade, but instead of completely fixing it, it actually just moved to shooting, instead of shooting random light lasers at your ship, it would shoot random light lasers at the station, as well as extra blurred anti-aliasing going a bit too far and blurring 2 feet in front of your ship.
Jeez. Well,
this is why I play most games with anti-aliasing off.
Well, if you have a beefy PC, there's no reason to have anti-aliasing necessarily on unless you have a super long draw distance. And when I talk about anti-aliasing to people all the time, I very much like to reference Minecraft, and because it's so simple of a concept for people to understand, increasing your render distance in Minecraft. And in Minecraft anti-aliasing, they just put clouds in front of it. They don't fully render the block that is sitting 4,000 paces ahead of you in order to save resources. Anti-aliasing works in the same way, but instead of completely unloading the asset, it will load in the asset in a blurry state and blend it together with other assets around it in order to save graphics.
I never knew.
So that's the whole point of anti-aliasing, and for a game like Eve, it can work really, really well in big tie-dye fights, because while we're all looking at dots, when you're looking at it from a graphical perspective, the actual polygon of that avatar 300 kilometers off is going to have a less polygon count because of anti-aliasing, and it's going to improve general performance on the PC load.
Well, Abe says that's not anti-alias at all. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I hope
I
everyone
also
fixes
shoved it. I shoved it into simple terms, so I'm sure there's always going to be that chat out there that is going to cry that I didn't spend 4 hours explaining how it works.
Tell you what, not simple enough, my friend, and it seems like it
I
might.
thought it was
just
like
be
you don't want to have an
really
alias,
complex
so
topic.
you're against it.
So,
I
so
mean,
what
every
anti-aliasing does is it samples pixels and basically smooths out edges, right? So like
so
instead
it's
of
like
having
a
a hard,
stamp tool in Photoshop.
yeah, so instead of having a hard edge
Easy.
between two different objects or textures or what have you, it sort of blends them a little bit to make it softer. And anti-aliasing is actually something that requires additional performance. It's not a performance saver.
All right. Well, now we know what anti-aliasing is about, and what it's resulted in. Mifune saying is some blurry shit, so it's a little bit broken. Hopefully they fix it soon.
What's
and
broken? I don't think it's broken, is it?
I don't know. It might be. Could be. And there was some other random stuff, so not really anything significant in patch notes this week. Sorry, I took the bit on Tuesday instead of waiting for Friday. That's my bad. Rain is
we'll still talk about it anyway.
here. So
Yep, we
Rain,
will.
are you
Thank
helping
you,
out with the
Cage.
Alliance? What is it? The
Tournament.
The Jin Tanger Opens. I think they said no. The Anger Cup Alliance Opens.
The captain's angry. Yeah, I'm helping.
There's so many names that there could be.
What is a captain's angry?
So this is I'm sure you know Sothrasil. He does the Anger Games, and Jin Tan recently did the Captain's Cup. They're joining forces again for the Anger Cup Alliance Opens that begin on May 13th and will go for 5 weekends. Are these, Rain, do you know, are these
So is it too late to get
be...
into this? I mean, first I've even heard of it. I know
Yeah, so
Sothrasil.
Alliance tournament dates and rules and all that have been announced. So what Jin and Soth are doing is really just hosting open public matches on Thunderdome for people who want practice, not only actually flying in the tournament, but doing commentary. I'm assuming I'm helping. I will volunteer my
Good night,
referee
Mr.
stuff.
Unlucky.
I'll volunteer my referee work as usual. So like I think the biggest thing people don't really understand is how the tools work. So being able to practice with that is greatly helpful when it comes
There are a
to
lot of
match day.
tools, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, let
Well,
Rain referee because
I was also
wasn't
considering
the
offering
last time you
my
refereed, didn't it
immaculate
crash?
hosting skills.
Hopefully Dirk will help with that, right?
Yeah, I believe they have a Discord link somewhere. I don't actually have it offhand.
Yeah.
But
Which
you
one
should
are
be
they
able
using?
to.
Do you know?
No, I don't know. But if you just reach out to them and say, "Hey, I want to help," whether it's participating, flying, working, etc. Like, I think they invited a streamer to kind of help learn how to stream it too. Like, the more help they can get, the better.
Because Jin Tan's was the bring back solo, right? Isn't that his
Captain's Cup?
No, Jin was the Captain's Cup that held that was on earlier in the year in February and March.
So Rain, is this gonna lead into anything with the AT at all? Or is these are just like open practice matches?
Yeah,
these are
just practices for the AT. So the thought process is you are using your team registered for the AT, and we're doing AT rule sets.
Yeah, so they just changed the Anger Games to Anger Games Captain's X. Yeah, so it's the same.
They just made a funny name, so then that way they can show it's unaffiliated with like CCP. Like it's not like this isn't going to be like a CCP stream or anything along those lines.
But if you were already in the Anger Games Discord, that's what they're using. They just changed the name.
Is
yeah.
it? Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that's what he says in the chat. It's the Anger Games Discord. So that's cool. That's a fun thing. And then also
For sure, they do. Both groups have done a great job. This collaboration should be fantastic.
I hope so.
I'm gonna tell Soth he better do it right. I'll yell at him.
That does lead into the Alliance tournament rules and registration coming soon to you. So this year's AT, it's 32 teams. Rain, what do you know anything more that I don't know about the AT? Like any hidden secrets,
I don't
or
know.
just
I
what's
don't
in
know
the
what's
post?
public. Just what's in the post, and I haven't read the post. I literally got back like 24 hours, so and I've had my day job and sleep, so no idea.
That's too bad. Because I was gonna ask you if you knew if any changes, so I'll have to read it now too. God damn it.
You guys can read.
Yeah, can we? You've met me.
Like I've literally been traveling, so.
Yeah. I am being told that I should FC a team. That would be absolutely
Call it sussing
tragic.
your pool. Call it sussing your pool, please.
I don't want to do that.
That'd be so fucking funny.
That's fantastic. What do you mean you don't want to do that?
I don't.
Oh
So,
my god.
basically, a couple weeks after they stopped doing the open streams is when the feeder tournament's going to be. So the 24th and 25th of June, and then also the 1st and 2nd of July, and then yeah, they got all this coming in. It's the same
They
as
should have an
last time, right?
alliance. They should have an alliance tournament that's like 100v100 or something as well.
That
Wouldn't that
would
be
be
crazy? That would be
very
fun.
hard to
Yeah.
organize.
The
I'm
problem
sure it
is
would.
that
but-
there's so many people and you'd have so many matches. Like even just having
They could do like a
people for like 4 weekends for 2 for feeder, or yeah, 2 for feeders and then 2 for the alliance tournament is just like so much effort and so much people's time.
but they could do it in more of like a what do they call it? It was like just one special one off type deal. Like do two of them. They could do
Oh,
something like, you know what I mean, not make it a tournament, but like have a on the day before the finals, have a 100 versus 100 thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like a blob tournament, like 200v
That'd be
200.
kind of fun. Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
I mean, it's
We
not
find out
about.
if Thunderdome could handle it or not.
Well, you could
What
just do it
tie
on
dye.
Tranquility.
You'd break Thunderdome.
Have a fucking
Is
tie dye
that
fight.
is that something that people would like to watch though?
I
No.
would.
You would? You'd like to watch like
Yeah.
100v100?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's actually, it's
I
it's
have a
not entirely different, but it's
You have
definitely
to stream
mixing
it
things
like in
up there.
four different streams from different angles. That'd be kind of fun. Yeah. Don't poop on me. I think
It
it's
would
good.
be really fun to watch.
What's
if
that?
There you go,
Imperium
that's all I want.
invaded Rakapas again.
Oh my god. Well, you
That'd
know
be
what
fun.
isn't fun to watch? The discontinuation of Eve Anywhere.
Oh well.
Oh
Who
well.
cares?
Moving on.
CCP, how dare you remove this feature that I did not use and or participate with, but am angry
another-
on behalf of the people who did.
It's
do remember
another
it vaguely.
half-baked CCP
You know,
thing
I
that
appreciate
got
that
canceled.
outlook though, Redline, right? Because something doesn't necessarily need to affect you as a person for you to take it up as a cause, right?
Yeah, I mean
But
it sucks to have features taken away, right? This is
So
this
did
is
they give a reason for taking
2023's
it away?
Walking in stations. I mean not really.
Was it
it's
from non-use? I mean, then I have no problem. If it
probably-
wasn't getting used, then we don't need to spend resources doing, worrying about it.
Yeah.
If
It's
if
probably
there's-
lack of use.
That'd be
yeah,
my
I would
guess,
imagine
right?
that's
Yeah.
the reason.
Yeah, so
Moving on.
let's not
Oh,
complain
did you
about
see
it. right?
Vegas got announced?
For June?
Yeah.
eVegas has been announced for like
For
3
a long
months.
time, yeah. That's what I thought.
The
Yeah.
pool party thing came
You
out.
sweat.
Oh
I
yeah,
wish I could make it. I can't go
The
this
pool
year.
party thing.
I am not going to Vegas, but I am, however, going to FanFest. So
I'll be at FanFest as well.
Well, hey,
Wa-
and
was it Vegas or was it
Nola-
I think it was Vegas
Nola
that the
just
pool party thing
finished.
got.
Yeah, Vegas,
Lady
yeah.
Scarlet tweeted it out for tweets
Oh,
and stuff.
leave Lady Scarlet alone. She's a nice lady.
I don't think he was saying anything bad about her, was he?
No,
He's
let me go
gonna.
find the tweet.
He's gonna post the tweet where she said
Lady
it was
Scarlet's a
gonna be
great person. Do not pick on her.
Yeah, she's a nice lady. We like
She
her.
is a very nice lady. Yeah, yeah.
But Eve Nola, while Firefox is tracking stuff down, how was that?
It was
You
so
guys
much
had
fun. So Friday, Delana made the mistake of inviting everyone over to her house, like her with her parents. And so we show up and this guy named Cyan the Man is like a pro at boiling crawfish, and so he like had like I think they said 120 pounds of crawfish that they laid out and we ate, and it was like crawfish.
You had a fish boil?
Yeah, it was
Crawfish, dude,
so
that's sick.
fucking good. And we had like I'm trying to think of how many daiquiris. We had at least little 6 carry baggy goon things or whatever they're called.
Delana mentioned she was going to be buying it by the gallon.
Yeah, it was a lot of stuff, and it was amazingly good, and all the Eve players were super friendly. We had there was a couple from Arizona from Initiative that drove all the way from Arizona to come hang out. We had November, the token Australian foreign man. It was so much fucking fun.
Seafood boils are.
Yeah, I'm very sad I couldn't make it.
Oh, I did find the tweet. It was Eve Vegas, 56 days away. If you're debating about attending this year, it's been moved to a June pool party.
So I think you need to understand that Lady
This is
Starlet
how
forgot to put a
CCP gets.
period in the post, and the period is after June. So it's saying Vegas has been moved to June. Period. Pool party,
It
anyone?
clearly says June pool party.
Look, you've got to read between the lines here, okay?
You're the one
But
reading
it's,
between
that
the
was always in
lines.
June.
That's what I
mean,
said. You
right?
have to read between
Yeah.
the lines. You're
Yeah, isn't it
taking the
always in
piss.
June,
You're
though?
taking the piss out of my
But
friend.
isn't it
Stop
always
it.
in June, Redline?
No,
No,
it
no,
was
no.
not
Normally
always
it's in
June.
October.
It's
But
never
it's in
been
June
in
this
June.
year. But that's been, like Rain said, it's been announced for months.
All I'm saying
Years.
is this is how I think it was Contan said it in Cesspool. This is how CCP gets players to take baths.
Jeez. That's
Maybe.
toxic.
No, that might be true, actually.
By the
I know
quote,
I
let me
don't
say.
take baths. I mean, what do you do?
You have to.
Do I?
I'm
I just jump in the
trying to
river.
find some tweets of Eve Nola. I know I saw some pictures
Yeah,
earlier.
Rain. What else
but,
happened? Anything else good?
I'm just scrolling through the same tweets over and over again. It's weird.
Did Manic bring the juice?
How about Eve Blackpool?
I'll ask him Friday.
Eve Blackpool.
Did you not see the thing that was that was someone trying to make it a thing?
LB knows all about Vegas. He hears about it 11 months of the year.
It's true. He does.
He hears about it every Friday out of the
fantastic.
year.
What he said, like the 6 months before is the ramp up. 6 months after is talking shit about it.
He's gonna understand so much though after
Cool
he's gone to
down.
FanFest this year.
That's fucking funny.
Yeah, I hope you guys have so much fun at all the Eve events.
We always
I'm
do.
sad. I'm
And
really
we're gonna
sad
have
that
a
I
Midwest
missed.
one again this year, but we just don't know when yet.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. I mean, I won't figure it out. I'm not very reliable, but I'll go.
I've noticed that.
Shut up, man. Not nice. Anyways, this is the part of the show where I have nothing else to talk about. So I'll leave it up to you guys if you want to shoot the shit for a
Just have,
few.
questions from the chat or
Questions from the chat are acceptable. Otherwise we can just chill here. I'm still
What
gonna
else you
try to
got?
find
I
these
don't know.
pictures. Well, that's what
So
I said. I don't have anything.
I got a question, Redline.
Oh, I
What
miss
have you?
Marius. God damn it.
What have you been up to lately, Redline?
Getting blacklisted from everywhere.
That and this. That's it. Nothing else.
And being a Janny in Cesspool.
That has increased a lot lately, and I'm super disappointed about it.
That you've increased your presence?
Why? What, Brendan?
I've been forced to increase the amount of jannying that I do on a daily basis, and I fucking hate it. Stop being so stupid, you fucking idiots.
There's been a recent influx of new members, and they're still learning.
Yeah, but the cesspool's got the soundboard.
That's a good attitude, Sonya. Don't shit on them. They're just new.
Oh, some of them are genuinely horrible people, but hopefully they can learn too.
Well, if they're on
That's the
cesspool, they
point.
probably are. Yeah.
That's the point. I shit on everybody. It's fun.
I mean, the point of Cesspool is to be a degenerate because it's a platform to do so where there is no other platform to do so. And, it's meant to be toxic, which is cool, but there are some times where people go over the line.
So it's
Sometimes
not
way over the line.
It's not
I think it's supposed to be. It's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek toxicity, right? But I think some people do get a little bit
bantery.
out of
It's
control.
supposed to be
Yeah,
bantery. Like the
little
rules are
little bit
there
of
to make it.
ribbing.
Why am I being pinged? Don't fucking ping me. I don't want
Ooh, I didn't get pinged. God damn it. I like it.
Wait, what's the poll, Ryan? Ryan, what's the poll?
Oh, because he did apparently a vote kick on me.
Why?
He redeemed it. I don't know.
I'll give you your
Where?
points back, Ryan. You cunt.
Wow.
What? That's a normal word. People say that word. It's okay.
Ryan is
okay?
Australian. It is common for. It's a common word for.
I'm sorry. I didn't think he was. I didn't realize he was being culturally sensitive.
Yeah, see? Come on, dude. What do you think? Who do you think I am? Some kind of insensitive prick?
Yes.
I'm a very sensitive prick, as a matter of fact.
Oh, very sensitive prick.
A little
That
bit
makes
too
sense.
sensitive
Let's
sometimes.
see.
I don't know.
So
Yeah.
there was a poll last month. Is Vax or Jackie right? Don't know about that. Reject it.
What? You don't remember that one?
No.
That was a good
Vex
competition.
is right.
Oh, Toaster's here.
Brendan
That was a good one.
redeemed
That was a
an
good one.
emote-only chat 14 days ago. Here's your points back,
Good
Brendan.
evening,
Thanks for
Sister
that.
Jane.
I was requested to be vote kicked.
For what?
Toxic Alterari. And Ryan, there you go. There's your points back.
Oh, the Vex v Jackie one was really fucking good.
I don't remember it.
It was Jackie bitching and Vex saying, "Yeah, we didn't like
That's-
you didn't get shit in Goons because you didn't put in a single bit of effort yourself to
So
do anything."
you know how I was asking you the other day about how the recordings of the show are up on YouTube instead of being
Yeah.
held in Twitch. But yeah, so that was specifically to go look up that episode because you had a great comment about 55 minutes in about how Goons are never even going to make it into X47, and I lol.
Did I say that?
You did say that.
Speaking
So-
of hold on. Speaking of
Yes, sir.
stuff being uploaded to YouTube, has anybody here seen the Adobe Premiere Pro AI extension that came out yesterday?
No.
Oh my god! So it's called like audio something, and it's an AI tool built off of Chat GPT, off of the API for it, and it's meant for podcast editing.
Oh,
And
is it
what
just like do your mastering for you?
No, no. Not the
It'll split
mastering.
up camera
It will.
angles and stuff.
It'll
It'll
split up
splice
all the
things together.
camera angles. It'll splice things together and separate all the camera angles for the people that are talking. It's honestly incredible as shit.
It
Yeah,
works
looks
with
dope.
YouTube or Discord?
It works with everything. It's mainly for like
video
camera
in it.
angles and yeah.
You put a video in it, like you put a set of videos in it, and it'll like switch to whoever's talking.
We need to send
It's-
that to
it-
Manic and make him make our video.
I don't know,
Fuck
man.
yeah.
We don't need that.
I
It's
need
goofy.
it. How do you know I don't need it?
I know you don't need it. I know it. I know it's true. Is
You
there
know,
really
yeah,
no
probably not, but yeah,
questions?
fuck.
Is there really no questions in the chat? I mean, Skyhawk's fighting with somebody in the Twitch chat. What's this guy fighting you about?
I don't even know, but I'm actually enjoying this and highly amused
All I know
by
is
this.
he called Skyhawk for being shit for being in TRC, and he's like,
Well,
"Look
he
where my
is.
main is," and it's an honorable third party, which is
Did that
honestly
guy
worse
get
at this
kicked from
point.
TRC? Is that why he's mad?
Probably.
I'm sorry I killed your coalition, but I'm also not sorry because
I
your
mean-
coalition were a bunch of rats.
Honestly, what the coalition became,
That
like
wasn't
at that
nice.
point, like the coalition didn't get killed, but it did go through a mega transformation. Saying it got killed is just patently false. But it became something it was never meant to be and never should have been, and something that literally most of the old guard for RC never wanted it to be. So, like, actually, where RC came around to now is much better than what it was.
All I remember is the joint Init and Sea Fleet to defend RC structures. It was very funny.
No, the actual truth is I came on
Hi,
here
Dan.
because I was talking with Dom before the show, and I just wanted to keep hanging out with friends and chatting. I've actually been mostly inactive from the game for like 6 months because I've been going to school.
Yeah, RC in general still being a thing is hilarious to me. Someone just needs to take Provi Block already.
RC
Rocket
has
has a
nothing
kid.
to.
He has enough to do with IRL. He should just let the coalition
Mifune,
die.
RC doesn't really have anything to do with Pravi Block. Like the entire transformation that RC itself went through was walking away from like covering all the Sov and Pravi and
so-
like working with most of those groups. Like
Acco-
they
so
basically
according-
reset everyone.
So here's the thing. According to RC, we killed. They had over 90% of their low sec infrastructure left. At the time of the end of the war, that we.
That
'cause I was in Big
doesn't
Apple-
sound like anything I heard
That
at
is
all. Like
per
that all
Rocket.
the
That is per Rocket X. I can go grab the quote.
I mean,
But-
I was in plenty of things where like Rocket talked about how his alliance alone lost over $1 trillion worth of shit in LoSec. Like it was not something that was kept secret. It was something that was very out in the open that I was in meetings and heard him talk about myself. That sounds like bullshit propaganda from the other side of the aisle. That's not at all what was ever communicated or said on the inside. So sorry.
Let me go. grab the post. Fuck,
Well,
what's
on
this
that
one?
note,
You can
I'm
show
gonna
me
call it a
whatever
night.
you can show me whatever post you want. I'm
Hey,
still
good
gonna
night.
say
Good
bullshit
night,
It is
based off
literally
of my
Rocket
Yeah,
X
I
experience.
gotta go,
posting
guys.
it, though.
Love
It's
y'all.
a
I'll
quote
talk to
from
you
I'll
later.
Rocket.
see you
Brandon,
get what you
Red Line.
And your post does not
Bye-bye.
invalidate any of the things that I said that I saw and heard directly firsthand. So
Oh my
again,
god.
sorry.
Red Line, I started an argument on your show that doesn't involve me.
Congratulations.
Reaching new heights.
Like, I'm not talking bullshit here either. Like, I'm literally saying exactly what I saw and heard myself firsthand. Like, you can show me whatever post you want, but like, again, that's not going to invalidate my experiences.
Well, I'll tell you what. In this evening, I'm going to send us to a different channel. This guy's name is Digital21. That's where we're going. And when
You
you
should
get
send
there,
it to the Wormhole Police channel.
no, I tried to find a channel with lower views, and then also someone who was like actively talking on the stream. Because we're gonna raid, and I want everyone to just spam the follow button, follow this person, and enjoy the stream and say hello.
Do you know anything about the type of content that's available on this stream?
It looks like he's shooting rats or getting shot by rats. He's on a gate, so it could be a gate camp. Title says Drunken Monkeys. So
Sounds like we're in for a bit of a surprise.
yeah. Yeah, so we'll see.
Oh, here's I found the comment. I found the comment.
God. Anyways, I've been Redline. This has been Trash Talk Tuesday. We'll see you fuckers next week.
See you Friday.
This is the quote of Rocket X. Lol, you have no idea. Literally none of what you have said is accurate. If